This is Curtis Corona, and you're listening to Hardly Heroes podcast. If your favorite X-Men is Cyclops, you're an asshole.
I didn't show up to what?
To my birthday party.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're not sorry.
I am sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
I made some bad decisions, all right?
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
made
you
some...
did. Because Aaron showed up, and
I did.
everybody's like, thought we were getting the big three up here today.
Yeah, I was really excited. I was wondering. I didn't get a text back from Manny. I think I even texted you, "How are you doing?" And I got
was
nothing.
out by that
No,
time.
the best part of the whole thing
I was
Aaron
passed out.
text me.
Yeah.
It was like, talk to Manny today? And I was like,
Nope. Why?
no, why? And then I didn't even think about it. He's not showing up today.
No.
He's just slyly like not responding or saying anything because he knew he was going to bail on us.
And I did what you guys did when I didn't show up. I checked his activities on the Apple Watch.
It was probably pretty low. right?
Very low. It was
Very.
like
Minimal.
very.
There wasn't much movement that day. I was
Sick.
feeling kind of sick.
Really.
Yeah.
With the fake flu.
So by
dear.
the time I got your text, I got Letty's text too.
Of course.
Oh, Letty was very
She was pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, I only went to this party because you were going to be there, and you're the only person I know besides
Wow.
Sterling.
Letty made me laugh because we've been kind of talking about Chrissy on the show. And she's like, oh, so that's Chrissy, huh? I said, yep. She's like, all right, I see my competition now.
Oh dear.
No.
It was
Oh,
pretty
so she
fun.
went? She went to the party?
Yeah, Chrissy
Oh,
was
cool.
there. A lot of listeners were there asking about the show.
I fucked up.
Aaron
I fucked
had
up.
me dying. He
Oh,
went up
dear.
to everybody. He's like, you do an iTunes review yet? You should get on that.
I told him he needed to put a sign at his door saying only can come in if you put on an iTunes review, but it was already too late. And
Yeah.
I felt like it
that
was
would have been
desperate.
a great
I-
idea.
I felt like it was desperate.
I would do that at a party I threw.
We'll have to do that at the anniversary.
Yeah.
I think
And be like, okay, everybody, pull out your iPhones.
Yeah. Everybody log into iTunes right now.
Those of you that do not have iPhones, please sit down
We will provide you with one.
and wait to evolve.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Did
What?
a lot of drinking.
Please be careful for those Samsungs. They do explode.
Yeah.
Well, no, now they've gotten I seen a Samsung commercial where they said we are now testing our batteries with like a 73-point check, and I'm like, you really have
Now?
to put that in? Yeah,
Yeah,
now they
now
are.
you're doing that.
When
Took you a while, didn't it?
yeah, and then so Buddy introduced me to a new drinking game, which I've never played before. What's it? Landmine? Or whatever.
Landmine.
Oh yeah, we played some of that
Oh.
because my counter. You can see the island counter is perfect. Was perfect
And
for that.
okay, here's the thing: is like most drinking games, there's like a winner. Okay, this game is the opposite. There's only losers because I feel like the whole point of this game is like
Get fucked up.
whoever falls down last is the winner. Like whoever passes out last, because there's no end to the game.
Right.
No.
There's no end.
No,
There's no winner. You just get drunk.
I was like, wait, so it's not like beer pong or it just didn't make sense, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I love that game.
I missed a good time. Don't
Yes. I rallied till about 1:30.
I'm gonna pay for it for the next year, and then I'll make up for it next year.
Oh yeah. Dude, it was wild.
I'm taking him out to dinner, so
Oh.
I'm making it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
We're not releasing where.
where we? Oh, I was gonna
Not
say
yet.
where are we going, but
We don't want some of our listeners, just showing up.
because
Oh, the
they
paparazzi.
just show up everywhere.
Pretty much your mom.
no, yeah, you know.
All of our moms.
Yeah. Why wasn't I invited?
I want the lobster bisque.
Did we pick a day for the anniversary party?
Yes, we have picked a day on that. If you could keep talking so I could pull
What is
that out of
what
my...
is that? What is that date, buddy? Buddy, what's the date?
So tell them what it
Alright.
is first.
Okay, so we are. We've talked about this a little bit, and we're talking about doing an anniversary episode of our podcast.
May 13th
Boom.
on
On May 13th.
Saturday,
It's a
2017.
Thank you.
We would love everybody to come out. It's going to be at a bowling alley. We don't know which one yet. Possibly West Sacramento's Capitol Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Because we can rent out the
Possibly.
party room.
There's a party
Ooh.
room, and maybe we'll have banners and possibly nice treats to give out for people who win the bowling tournament.
Yeah, just remember there will be prizes. So bring your A game to the bowling alley.
Yeah. So
We might
Sterling can't win prizes, by the way.
No.
So he
Can
can't
I?
go-
bowl a 300.
oh, okay, fine.
Nobody. Yeah, I have bowled 300. We
Whatever.
talked about
Come
that.
on.
But none of the heroes will be able to be in this.
Boring.
We're still gonna play.
We'll play, but we're not going to be going for the prizes.
Of course not. Yeah, because we paid for the prices.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I want to get this out of the way right now.
Okay.
Do you know what day it is today?
No.
It's March 23rd. Also, it's International Puppy Day, by the way. I don't have a puppy for you guys, but it is also International Puppy Day today.
I don't need another
But
dog.
it is
No.
Chips and Dip Day.
Oh, chips and dip.
Oh, and he finally brought it.
So I brought some.
Let me see
So
that
we're gonna-
Tootsie Roll.
We're eating
That's
chips
Tootsie
on
Roll.
the episode. I mean, on the podcast.
I'm glad you really think I brought chips and dip.
No. Oh,
Here's
my
the
God.
closest thing to it. I brought you chicken flavored top ramen. Basically chips and dip.
Where's my sriracha sauce?
The
It
fuck?
doesn't come with
I don't
sriracha.
need top ramen.
So I'm
without
just supposed to eat this
sriracha
dry?
sauce.
If you want.
Sriracha
What are we in sixth
sauce.
grade?
I don't know. Isn't that what you guys do?
In sixth grade.
Crunching up.
Top ramen. Well,
Top
thank you.
ramen.
Speaking of top ramen, did you guys know that fishes don't have eyelids? I'm sorry if that wasn't golden enough for you.
Welcome to the Hardly Heroes Podcast.
High above the city, they shine in my spotlight. Commissioner on the rooftop, double H in the night sky. For the sidekicks we fight, for the right crosses we throw. For the ninjas we injure, revenge on our foes. From crime alleys to radioactive insects, genetic mutations. Weapon X rejects are infinite, Ursa in crisis. Our wars are civil but secret. Here come Buddy, Manny, and Aaron, blaring through your speakers. Yeah, Hardly Heroes. It's clobbering time.
Although you're the only one who knows what he's talking about when it comes to the rankings. These days, he rated the film like he was like 8.5 and up on Logan for everything, and you both were like somebody gave it a 6 and something. I was like, you guys are fucking morons.
Okay, it was really 6, and it was what was it? The superhero
movie.
Yeah, which I was like, I guess if you're taking it super like as a superhero movie, maybe it's only a 6. But like honestly, like name like if there's 10 superhero movies, like name the 4 that are better than Logan.
I got one.
wow,
I only got one.
There is one.
I got
that
one.
Is my favorite.
Dark Knight. It's the Dark Knight is better. That's the only one I can think of.
My favorite Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
I love that.
Guardians
I
of the
don't
Galaxy?
understand people who like Winter Soldier. Like, it's okay.
Oh, I love
but who
that.
gives
my
a shit?
God.
It's like, I don't know.
I
Like,
love.
well, hey, no, you can't say who gives a shit. Then that just throws everything out the
It's just
window.
like Winter Soldier was so like to me it was not. It was fine. It was fun. But like afterwards, everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the best comic movie." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Oh, no
it's
shit,
the
I
same
love
as
it.
every other comic book
We
movie.
need to get in this. We're already
That's
Oh,
all
dear.
good reading. I love it.
Like the only like I can understand saying Guardians of the Galaxy.
Pretty
I
good.
can say that. I can even understand somebody saying like Ant-Man or something because
Whoa, Ant-Man.
because
Really?
because
Oh,
it
Ugh.
sticks to one character.
Yeah.
Right? Like I mean, Guardians is hard to fuck up because nobody read Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I didn't
No.
I was a huge comic book nerd as a kid. I didn't read Guardians. So when I saw it I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then when it ended I was like, damn dude, like that was really good. But if you were a huge Guardians fan, I want to meet somebody who's a huge Guardian fan who just shits on that movie. He's like, no, it's nothing like what it was supposed to. Because like even with like the first X-Men, which like whole
Way back.
it's
in the
like
day.
you wanted to love it, and I did want to love it. And
Oh,
today
yeah.
I'm still like, okay, I like the movie, but like it was not what I wanted it at that time.
No,
Like, it
God,
did not
no.
hold up.
Yeah,
to
with
X-Men.
Guardians, the one thing I've heard from like serious fans is that
Left is cord.
Oh,
the one thing I heard from serious fans about Guardians, they're like, well, Yondu's mohawk wasn't as big, but they fixed it in the new one. his mohawk's
They
fucking
did.
huge now.
okay, yeah. See, that's the thing. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I didn't listen.
I
Are
didn't-
you okay with that? There, I also have if you want to get it closer, do you think that would help you more? That
Oh, no, I think I'm good.
Colin.
If it's
Good?
here, like if you guys, as long as you guys can hear me, I'm fine.
okay, we can fix your levels too if you want to.
Okay, do you want a sound check or?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get you to talk. You guys
That is crazy. I can't believe you don't like Captain America.
Captain America's such a fucking lame character. Like I don't care about Steve Rogers
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Like he's just such a bitch all the time.
I
I get wanting to do the right thing, but like he has no edge to him.
Look, I
at
don't
all.
like people who do steroids. That's all I'm saying.
There's
That's all it
nothing wrong
is.
with that.
I totally understand what you're
I
saying.
can make the
It's-
argument either way. It doesn't really matter.
I
He's
think
always
he's pretty
the good
boring.
guy,
I
yeah.
didn't actually start liking Captain America until I started watching the movies, and I was like, wow, they're actually making him kind of cool.
To be fair, I was like a Marvel kid, and like when people were like, "Oh, DC, let's talk about DC," I'm like, "Fuck DC." Like if Stan Lee didn't do it, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
That's funny.
Batman was the only one I cared about.
Oh, Batman's
And, I mean,
always been my
Batman was. I
favorite.
mean, and obviously for like me, like Batman, Michael Keaton. Like
yeah.
that changed the game, I was like, "Oh shit,
Hell
this
yeah.
is amazing!" Like I watching Batman and Ninja Turtles and like those movies were fucking huge to me. I still love them to this day. Like,
Oh,
those
yeah.
are, those are the
Oh,
movies. But yeah, like X-Men. Oh, and fucking who was the one who's like, "Oh, bring Jubilee back"? Like,
Oh, it's just
motherfucker.
it's a running joke. It's a running joke in the podcast.
Oh, okay.
We call him the Jubilee of the podcast.
Shit, man.
So it's all just a joke.
I was
yeah.
like, I was hearing that. I was like, why the fuck would anyone beg for Jubilee? And it's true. Like Jubilee's an old man Logan. And even when I was like reading through that, I was like, why? Why did they do this to
I
us?
love it. I love
She's
it.
the worst.
Because that is our whole joke. Is somebody was saying like, because
Man, this has to be like since episode 2.
no,
Yeah.
it was like
Three-
It
two
was
or
like
three.
7 or 8.
No,
It was when I finally got on, right?
no, it was before that.
Oh,
and
okay.
somebody was like, Aaron's like the Jubilee of the show, and we lost it. So it's this ongoing joke.
I would have
man.
told whoever that listener was, I'd be like, don't fucking listen anymore. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you to know my name. Like, it's not okay.
That is
Oh, that
hilarious.
was awesome. So we had a guest come on, Brandon, and he was like, man, Jubilee was like a really strong character, and she has all these cool, and we're like, no, don't bring that up.
That's funny.
But, oh, that was super funny. Whew.
So yeah, I'm not a Jubilee fan.
That's okay.
I'm fine with that. I don't like Jubilee.
I don't
Oh,
like you
sorry.
either. You jerk.
I like you, Aaron.
Oh, thanks.
Not really.
Whatever.
All right, so are you ready to go?
Yeah, if
We're
you
good?
want to start.
Yeah, we could
Whatever.
kind of just get into this.
I'm good, yeah.
So
Oh, wait, do you have like a bottle of water or anything? Like,
oh,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm sorry, man. Let me go get this.
You got it?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll be back.
Sorry, I don't mean to be like a
No,
He's all, I'm from
I'm
Hollywood.
just so thirsty all the time now.
Yeah. How did that event go you went to the other day?
Where was I?
That whole,
I don't
you were like talking at some thing?
Oh, and it was just it was in my film school. It wasn't like an
nice.
event. It was like, it was just me going to talk to classes. Cause,
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
No one at my film school does anything of note. And so they're like, oh, hey, like, you're working in the industry. Come talk to our classes. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's fine. Like, even my teachers who worked there, like, only one of them ever made anything that you could even call kind of real.
shit.
And he did like 2 movies, like 2 westerns, and that was another thing. Somebody said they didn't like westerns in here. It was like,
I'm not a huge fan of westerns.
yeah, but you are. You just don't know you are.
Your Westerns are so good.
Like if you like movies, you like westerns. Like, do you like Star Wars? You like westerns.
Sure.
Did you like Logan? It's a western.
Oh, no, I do.
These
Yes,
movies
that's
are
true.
fucking. These are westerns. Like Star Wars is a fucking western. Like,
Well, the space western.
yeah, exactly. But it's a western. Like, and like I fucking defy you to watch Tombstone and tell me you didn't love it. Go watch Deadwood, all fucking 3 seasons. Of that
I've been
shit.
meaning to
It's
watch it.
amazing.
I've never seen it.
so what is your favorite Western then?
Dude, I love all like that was the one thing about Logan too, is like it's all Sam Peckinpah is like a huge influence on Mangold and his career, and like fucking Peckinpah's the man, dude, and all his movies are great. But like I love old westerns to new westerns. Like I love Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, it's fucking amazing. I love like 3:10 to Yuma.
That's a good one.
I like High Noon, fucking awesome movie.
Okay.
But then like what I really love is like modern day westerns too. Like talking about like, do you ever see the 3 Barrels of Melquiades Estrada? It's a
I don't speak Grease. I'm sorry.
it's Barry Pepper and Tommy Lee Jones, and it's all about like this border patrol agent who like
I think I know what you're talking about.
he like accidentally or he kills an illegal immigrant who has been like working in I think it's South Texas with Tommy Lee Jones' character, and they've become like really good friends. And he tells all these stories about his home back home and blah blah blah. And so when he gets killed as an illegal, Tommy Lee Jones decides I'm trying to think, like he takes Barry Pepper hostage and makes him take him over the border so they can bury him in his real hometown. And like he's told him all these stories and he knows all this stuff about him. And then when they get there, he realizes all of his stories were kind of bullshit about Mexico. Like he wasn't like the town he's from isn't like this like really nice little town or anything. It's like really shit.
Made up.
Yeah,
and
he was
shit.
basically just sort of like glorifying his hometown, you know?
No shit.
But like that's like a super cool, like it's a modern day Western, you know, like they're in a pickup truck going.
I guess I am lame because I absolutely love Westworld, and it's the same thing.
And see, I like hate watch Westworld. Westworld is like
Whoa!
Treme to me. Like I'm just like I'm watching it because it's on HBO, but
Well, you
don't-
got- yeah. What
I'm
did
not
you
sure
like about
why
it?
I'm watching it. I just like it, like nothing. You know what it is to me. Also, it's like if you've ever did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica?
Oh
The
yeah.
latest one, right?
Yeah, and like that was fucking rad. Like that
That
was,
was,
so good.
yeah.
And the whole time you're just like every time they reveal who a Cylon is, it like blew your mind.
You're
You know?
like,
I was like,
oh,
like what the fuck? He is, she is, like what the hell? And then this is just like, I get it. Everybody's a cyborg. Like everybody's a fucking.
It didn't take
like,
long to figure everything
right.
out.
And
I
they're
felt
sort
like
of like telling you
Yeah.
right away, and like I know like J.J. Abrams was trying to get this thing made for like ever.
Yeah.
But I can see why. Like I mean, especially once Battlestar hits, it's like it. I could see them saying like it's the same thing. Like we don't need that.
I get that because in Battlestar, yeah, I remember having those moments like, holy shit, hold on, wait,
Yeah.
he's
what
a
was your
cyborg?
Yeah.
Like, what was it, the second in command, the other captain?
Yeah, the one eye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
when he was a
Yeah.
cyborg, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding
I mean,
me,
even,
right?
and even in that, there was a moment like towards the end where you're just like, okay, well, who isn't? Like everybody is.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what the fuck? But like for so long they drug it out for so long, and it was so compelling. But like with Westworld, I'm just like, I don't care that you
dear, I love
are,
it.
and like they took away the one character I even sort of liked, which was his like assistant.
The girl, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about the other characters. Like I just don't like. And then especially the other ones, especially the ones that are cyborgs, that are just like, well, you want me to care, but they're not even human.
Oh, see,
And they just
well, yeah,
He's
and
not
that's the thing
even
is that's what
real.
was cool is you cared more about James Marsden and
Yeah.
and what's her eyebrows? What's her name? What's her name? The blonde girl.
Rachel Evans.
yeah, Rachel Evans.
Yeah, you cared
Wood.
more about
Rachel
the
Evan
you
Wood.
cared more about the robots than you did the humans. It's
Yeah,
like-
exactly. Oh, and
period.
then also like the lead human is the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who he's the McBoyle brother.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I keep looking at him like it's hard for me to take him seriously, and he's actually a really good actor. Like he does a
Right.
great job, but it just like the casting was a little weird for me. on that, so,
McBoyle. That's
yeah,
funny.
the McBoyle.
Can I have a
love
pen,
that
man?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's this huge coaster.
Is that a
probably
coaster?
Won't make as much noise
Yeah, let's
when
do
you
that.
put something down.
But yeah, no, and so we can talk about. I love Tombstone. It's like fucking amazing.
The movie?
Yeah, he was just asking me about.
No,
Oh,
no,
He
I
was
missed
busting
the
Aaron's
noun.
chops because
The-
he was like, and which one of you motherfuckers said you didn't like Westerns? Aaron's like, I said I kind of didn't like them. He was like, then you don't like any fucking movie. You don't like Star Wars. You don't
Yeah,
like...
like they're all, and it's like fucking go watch Unforgiven and tell me you don't like westerns. Like that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
I can dig it.
and like fucking Unforgiven. I mean, also another huge like Logan was like a big influence.
Oh,
by,
yeah.
Unforgiven and all Sam Peckinpah and Shane and all that. So it's like fucking westerns. It took me a long time to get into westerns. Like my
Oh.
dad used to watch a lot of westerns. I used to go to the movies with my dad.
I think that's
all the
why,
time.
because that's all my parents watched when I was a kid.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, what? Boring.
It took me a while for like even black and white and like Technicolor shit where I was just like, oh, the colors aren't real. Like, but then I like turned 17 and grew
Yeah.
up a little and started
Really?
liking good movies.
That's weird.
So
I don't know.
but my dad, that was all my dad. Like,
Did you like Django? Django and
yeah,
Django?
Django's
I was like, what's Django?
Yeah, I fucked that up.
Django. The D is silent, man. Django. I did like Django, but it's just like I love Tarantino. Like Reservoir Dogs is one of like the 3 movies that made me want to make movies as a kid.
What were the other two?
Swingers.
Okay,
and Clerks.
Yes.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Come
Okay.
on.
It's just like those movies were like, it was like I watched those movies. I'm just like, man, this looks like it's like this dude and a bunch of his friends are out just fucking making a movie. Like you can do whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs was like so irreverent to me. I was like, like they don't even go anywhere. Like
Oh, I've always said that they can turn it into like a Broadway play because they're always in
Totally.
that one
Yeah.
place.
you know what they could do? They could turn it into a western and call it The Hateful Eight because it's the
Yeah,
same fucking
there
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
Yeah.
which
Yes.
it's not the same movie, but I like sitting through Hateful Eight. I was like, this is the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. But yeah, no, like it just felt like they're a bunch of guys making movies with friends. I mean, especially Clerks, which is what it was, because you could see like the lack of talent in their acting chops
Oh, yeah.
at the time. You know, like well, not that much of them have gotten much better.
Well,
but like.
well, they're all on comic book men now.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah, so you could see them like, really struggling to like act, but it didn't matter because the writing was funny and it stood up, and he maxed out all his credit cards and made a movie. And it was just like when I was a kid, I was like,
the story of that is just like
Yeah.
him. I remember because I've heard the story like a million times because I listened to every one of his podcasts. But yeah, he literally went to the movies, saw Slackers, and was like, I could do this with my friends.
Exactly, yeah.
And then he went to Canada and went to film school for half of a year and was like, all right, I'm going to go make this movie now.
Yeah, and that's a question.
In the convenience store I work in.
Right, yeah. That's a question I get asked a lot too, is like, oh, like, is film school worth it? Like, you know, and like in this day and age, like, I honestly don't know how to answer it. Like, is it worth it?
It's tough.
Sure, is it worth it? I mean, I guess it's worth it. I learned a lot in film school. Film school was really good for is like it forced me to make shit. So like, because like I made stuff as a kid, like for fun. But like when I got to film school, it was like, you have to do a short media project. You have to do your senior thesis. And it was just like, okay, well, I have to write a script unless I want to do someone else's shitty script. and I have to like go into production with shit. So like for that, it's good. At the same time though, like, I mean, if you have the $75K or $100K that you're going to spend on film school, if you have it in bulk, just go make a movie. Like, just go make a movie.
Well, and
Skip
nowadays with your people are making movies with your iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
period. And a
Technology.
story.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a. Do you guys know Mark Duplass? He's an actor. He was on
Sounds
The
familiar.
League. He's he was in Zero Dark 30. He was in Togetherness on HBO. He was like the lead.
I
in
think I know who
Togetherness.
you're talking about.
He's
He's
yeah.
a big League fan.
Yeah, I love The League. He was
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Pete in The League.
Oh, yeah.
So not the brother, not Taco.
Yeah, it's Pete.
But he's like the mumblecore movement in filmmaking is sort of like he went through. He like innovated that. But I like a lot of his stuff. But like listening to him speak too, and he's just saying, like he says, like just go fucking shoot something. Like you have to make something over and over and everyone.
Yeah.
Like you say you don't have the equipment. It's like, do you have a phone? Like then you have the equipment because like it's in your pocket. And like I mean I've made tons of stuff that was like professional things that I've like gotten paid to do where we like forgot recording equipment and we're just like, well, I guess we're just using the memo pad on
There
our,
it is.
No
on our
shit.
phone.
That's pretty badass.
And you
Wow.
just sort of you go as you can, you do what you can. And I mean Tangerine is a movie that got into Sundance that was shot all on iPhones, so it's like
I heard of
crazy.
yeah. I was
So is the
When I was-
audio done on iPhones as well, or do they go back and like?
oh no God no.
Yeah, okay.
So, like one of the things that you can like look back to, because that's the other thing with like when you talk about Kevin Smith, like he's such an inspiration to so many people who are like exactly my age because of what he was able to do. But like you can't do that now. Like you
No.
can't just go max out mom's credit cards and make a fucking movie now.
Right.
Everybody can make a movie. Everybody's doing that exact thing.
8
So like
and 10-year-olds are doing
exactly as much as you think it's awesome that you can shoot on your phone. Everybody can shoot on their phone. So the market is saturated with all of this, even if it's decent, like it's just lost in the sea of shit that people make.
that. Or YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do something on your phone, like think about like Robert Rodriguez when he did El Mariachi, shot it for like $7,000, right?
Right,
and
yeah.
then he like puts it out to like festivals and whatnot, and I think it's Harvey Weinstein sees it and is like, fuck, I'm buying that. So he buys it and then spends like, I don't know, like $1 million on it to like polish it up and do the sound and like all that. Like all that sort of got
Yeah.
like redone after the fact. He
Cleaned
shot it for
it all up.
$7,000, but when they bought it, it was they spent a lot of money to clean it up. Because like if you're gonna wide release something, you're not gonna do it with like the shitty audio.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it for $7,000 and kind of throw it out there.
Yeah, well, and even like because like any feature or anything that's made, like you get on-set audio, like but none of it gets used unless you're making like a Dogma film. Nothing's getting used. Like, you're going back and ADRing everything, right? So like every single line that gets said on set, you don't hear that. Then the actor goes in and tries to match it in ADR sessions
yeah.
and like so. I personally I said like unless you're making a Dogma film, but like Dogma films are like some of my favorite fucking movies. Like I
no
love
shit.
like the Dogma 95 movement where it's like the only no tripods, it's all handheld, natural light, nothing, no audio that isn't being heard, like it's all diegetic sound, like I don't know if you know non-diegetic and diegetic.
No, explain that to us.
It's non-diegetic sound is the difference is like is if the characters can hear it, it's diegetic. And if it's like soundtrack that only the audience hears, the score,
Yeah.
then that's non-diegetic.
Non-diegetic.
It might be. I may be flipping those around, but that's the difference. And in Dogma films, it's like unless the characters can hear it, it's not in the film. So like the only music you hear in a Dogma film is also being heard by the the characters. But like, if I don't know if you ever saw like Breaking the Waves or Julian Donkey Boy or Celebration, Festin. No, dude. Oh, you guys got. Oh
dear.
You
I was
guys,
about to say you're gonna have to give me a list of some shit. to
this is
watch.
like, but this is like,
awesome.
I mean, you guys. I mean, I'm surrounded by like total like
Super geeks.
yeah, geeky toys. But and this is like movie geek though. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like Lars von Trier. Like he just did Nymphomaniac, and like he's like a fucking really weird director and. Likes to be drunk on set, and it's just a total asshole.
I mean, who doesn't?
Exactly.
You're definitely convincing me that we know nothing about what we talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is like movie, like really,
Right,
like this
yeah.
is film shit. Like you guys, I mean, like you got like the Juggernaut there, and you
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
you
It's
know,
about as far as it goes. Yeah.
Sabretooth. Like these are like this is a different type of nerd out, you
Right.
know? So, but yeah, like I love making dogma film. I would love to make a dogma film. My thesis film was like as close as I could get to making a dogma film, but my film school wouldn't like let me actually. Do
Oh,
it.
no?
We
Yeah.
watched a couple of them on your website. We
Oh, did
watched
you?
we watched
Yes.
Envelope. We watched the one with the MMA fighter.
Oh my god, you guys did some research.
We
Yeah.
tried.
Well,
we,
there's only 3 of them that we could because we don't have a Vimeo account.
Oh, okay.
we couldn't
so
get.
we
to-
Well,
couldn't-
everything on Vimeo is password protected right now anyway. Just because like when it goes out to festivals and stuff, like it can't be. If it's public, they're they don't want something that everybody can watch, and they just are gonna assume that you have like 1,000 people watching your shit, which I mean I don't.
Yeah.
But they will assume that, and so man, you guys watched that's some early shit I did too.
Yeah,
in film school.
the boxing one was 2006, I think, right? Something like that.
No, that I mean
2008?
it had to be within the last like 5 years because I
really?
did that in film school. I did that
There it
for a
is.
class in film
we were basically telling us this is the first guest we have that's basically worth having on. So let's not fuck this up and let's kind of
Yeah,
do it
no,
right.
I appreciate that, but like I'll send you guys passwords so you can watch.
Oh, that'd be
that.
great. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anybody who listens, if they want to watch, they just let me know. I'll send
there
them a
it is.
password.
That's awesome.
I produced a documentary that got everything's 15 minutes or less basically that I've made. So I did this documentary called Quiet Culture, which all about it's all about rape culture. And
Yeah, I
saw that
we
one,
saw the
yeah.
trailer for
Yeah,
that.
okay, yeah.
But it
It's-
looks awesome.
It's it's only 8 minutes long, and it's
Oh,
a
wow.
super heavy, but it's super heavy, and
Yeah.
it's not something that you're gonna watch like with popcorn and love, but it's something that at the end is gonna make you think about stuff. And
that was a challenge.
and-
I'm gonna watch it with popcorn and love. I'm gonna do it, and
but like that one got into like
then I'll cry a little bit.
it got into like a dozen festivals and got into Slam Dance.
That's awesome.
It won an international challenge of getting. It was a top 20, so it got to show at Slam Dance or top 20, and we were on TV. We were on Fusion Network for a year, and then top 12 got invited to Slam Dance to like premiere there. So that's what we got to do.
Nice.
And that I mean honestly, that movie like is the one that like got me jobs and opened doors. And,
That's
it's all
cool.
anyone
There
wants
you
to
go.
talk about on my resume.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they see it and they're just like, "Oh, tell me about your experience, at Slam Dance," and that's it. Like and then we talk for like a half an hour about that, and then nobody
that's
cares
cool.
about anything else. So. But yeah,
Yeah, because I remember talking to you when you were working on that. That was quite a while ago.
I was. That was. That was like. It was 2015 Slam Dance. So
Yeah.
it's
By the way, we didn't mention that this is your knob in case you need to
The
more or
volume.
less
touch my knob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
touch.
There you go.
Well, you can
Okay.
touch any knobs, honestly. But,
But yeah, so like,
nibble the dongles.
that was, and it was funny because like I did that in film school, but it wasn't for a class or anything. Just a buddy was like, "Hey, let's do this," and I was like, "Okay." And
That's freaking cool.
Actually, I tried to say no like 10 times, but I had no excuses. And so he finally like pinned me down one day and was like, "Are we doing this or not?" I was like, "Fuck, I have no reason to say no." Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Not think of any
And then it
excuses
just
right now.
we got like halfway through making it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is actually turning out pretty good." So
That's badass.
yeah, and then it got in, and it was insane. Like we were fucking in tears, and
That's
get into
awesome.
Slam Dance is like a huge.
Oh, I would've lost my
festival.
shit,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were such a bunch of nerds, like
Yeah.
just like crying our eyes out, like we didn't even do this for a class. Like this is amazing.
Well, and I would think of more of like, you talk about being a kid wanting to make a movie, and now
Yeah.
you made a short film that
Right.
got recognized. I mean, that's huge.
It's validation, yeah, it
Yeah.
totally is. What's funny is that I know a guy. I have this family friend. These two girls, the Richardson girls, the sisters from Greenhaven, where I grew up here in Sacramento, and she went to school. One of them, the younger one, went to school down south, and she wound up dating this dude who was going to where was he? AFI I think it was at AFI. Oh no, he's at Cal Arts. I think he's at Cal Arts, and he's a film guy. And then she winds up getting a job as Mark Duplass, who I talked about earlier, his nanny. And then he, when he has to do his senior thesis, is like, oh yeah, here's my script, and I don't know how it worked. She gave him the script, and Mark Duplass was like, this is pretty good. Maybe I want to do this. And then
Oh, man.
they fucking
shit.
so then they did it. They did this like found footage style documentary called Creep that got into Sundance. I got into Slam Dance, which is like the poor man's Sundance. It's on the same street during the same
Oh,
week.
really?
Yeah, it's the same thing because
that's
like the guys who started Slam Dance did it because they all got rejected from Sundance.
Oh, okay.
And so they started their own shit. And yeah, so but like I announced on my Facebook, I was like, oh my God, Quiet Culture got into Slam Dance. You know, like this is amazing for us. And like 3 hours later, this fucking guy, Patrick Bryce, who's like a super talented director, he announces on his like, oh yeah, overnight got into Sundance. And I'm just like, what? What the fuck? Like you couldn't give me a day? Like it was the same day. And I was like, we only have like, I don't know, like 100 friends less than that even overlap. But I was like, man, you could have given me a little time.
Yeah, let me bask.
Yeah,
because
like I mean, like if you're scrolling through your shit and you're like, oh, this guy got a Slam Dance, cool. Oh no, this motherfucker got a Sundance though. Like, this is my dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that other guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna check this one out
Yeah,
first.
exactly. And it was fucking awesome. And it's a feature, and it's so much better than anything I've ever done. So good for him.
Right.
Hopefully we'll cross paths and work together one day. But
There you go.
because he got to do that, and then it parlayed it into making The Overnight, which is a movie with Adam Scott and Jason Schwartzman and the blonde chick from Orange Is the New Black.
I forget her name.
yeah.
The
main character.
Piper. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't remember her
Piper.
name. But yeah, so and it's like awesome, and he got signed for 2 sequels. Whatever.
Whatever. You know, it's no big
Wow.
deal.
He's making
I'm
Jessica.
not
He's making
jealous or
Jessica
anything.
Chastain's new. She just has her own. You know Jessica Chastain.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
from up here. She went to Sac City for a little while.
Yeah.
She.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
one about I know exactly what you're gonna.
Yeah, well, she's got her own production company now, and they're doing their first feature, and it's he's directing it. Like,
That is
so-
awesome.
Wow.
It's, wait, it's a comedy?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Wow.
Doesn't matter.
That's what he's doing.
Love it.
Pretty sweet.
I'm like so jealous of him that I can't even describe.
That's cool. But you've got a couple of movies under your belt that everybody recognizes. We've talked a little bit about Logan, but you also had The Great Wall.
Yes. Legendary Pictures. Great Wall.
We have yet to see it.
I don't blame you.
I actually want to see it. I do want to see it. I'm the
not-
type of guy that is kind of trying to watch every movie at least once.
Yeah, well, okay, so like I watch everything, right? So like there's a room, there is a space for this type of film, and it's funny because like ZYM, the director, is huge. He's like the Spielberg of China, and he's made some incredible shit. Hero was his movie, and like so it's gorgeous and really well done and a great story, you know. And like this one was sort of like his Western crossover attempt, and so there's a space for spectacle films like. You know, like anything Roland Emmerich has ever done, like you know, like Day After Tomorrow, or Independence Day, or San Andreas. I'm not sure about San Andreas. That was fucking terrible. But that it's and this is definitely better than like San Andreas. But it's not like it doesn't tug at your heartstrings. It doesn't tell a story that you need to know. You know, but it is pretty. It's well shot.
Do you think it's mostly the controversy behind it that kind of?
No, the controversy is such bullshit too, because like this like whitewashing
Sure.
of Hollywood. I get the conversation, but it doesn't make any sense in this film.
Well, again, could we never have a movie where a white guy helps another?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is similar to like people who wanted to like lash out on Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Tom Cruise is the Last Samurai. What the fuck? He's white. It's like, dude, watch the movie. He's not the last Japanese-born samurai. That's not what they're saying. Like, he's a Westerner who goes east and you know like saves the day. So sure, the one argument that holds up is. Why can't the Chinese people save themselves? Why
Yeah.
does it have to be a white man coming to save the day? Okay, fine, I get that. But also, see the fucking movie, because in this movie, Matt Damon is, you know, the main character. He is, you know, it's a Legendary Pictures. Like, of course, they're going to have an American star.
Yeah.
Yes, he's white. Yes, he has a terrible ponytail. Yes, he has an accent that nobody can determine where he's from. But he also is not the only hero in the film. There is especially one other hero throughout the entire movie is standing right fucking next to him throughout the whole thing. His sidekick in it is Pedro Pascal from, you know,
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. Who is, you know, Spanish. And so, he's the one white guy in the movie, but there's like 6 heroes, and at best he's only half of the heroes that like save the day or whatever.
That's
so like
interesting.
It's just they tagged to him because he's the biggest star.
right, which is crazy, which is funny because like, this movie releases in China, and nobody in China knows who Matt Damon is. Like, you think that's a joke. Like, you think like, oh yeah, they don't know. Like, the crew was over there making the movie.
Have
and
you seen Team America?
There's this great story from Great Wall where they were all, I think they were at the actual Great Wall like as a crew, as tourists. They were all there, and of course, like, the Chinese stars were getting mobbed by the Chinese that were at the wall.
Oh, yeah.
They just love them. They are like huge
shit.
fans. Like, they can't get enough of these guys. And like one of the stars of the film is this. I can't remember his name. He's a K-pop star, and so he's Korean, but he's like this. He's got this huge music. He's like the Justin Bieber of China, and so like women are like screaming and wailing and like falling down and fainting.
That was funny because that was my nickname in high school.
And when they, like, even in the movie, like when his character, you don't know which one they are, so he dies, and when he dies in like the test audiences, they like people freaked out. They're like, how can you kill him? Like, yeah,
You killed Bieber.
yeah, but they're at the Great Wall, and they're all like taking pictures and shit with all these stars, and all these Chinese like regulars or Chinese people are running up and handing their cameras to Matt Damon and asking if he will take the pictures
shit.
with.
That is hilarious.
That is super funny.
And they had no idea who he was, like, at all.
That'll humble you a bit.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well, and like also like Matt Damon's like the nicest guy, so I'm sure he
seems like
just
a
took
nice
the
guy.
pictures. Like he did not care, and that's like the thing that that one thing I've learned in LA is like pretty much everybody's really nice. Like, you hear these like stories about actors and whatnot, and like I have not run across somebody who's terrible to anyone. Like, everybody has really great stories about everybody, and like I've only met like a handful of stars, but like they have all been like unbelievably nice. Like,
That's awesome.
No one has been shitty. Like,
I was about to say, who's your
I was
favorite?
gonna say, who have you met?
Okay, I met Willem Dafoe, who's in the Great Wall.
Okay.
And oddly with him, I did not meet him when I was working on the Great Wall. I met him in the bathroom at Fox when I was working on Logan. And I go in, I use the bathroom, and then I'm coming out, I'm washing my hands, and I look up, and there's this tiny little white dude standing next to me, and I look in the mirror, and it's fucking Willem Dafoe with all these tracking dots all over his face. And I'm assuming he must have been there for some sort of test for Justice League, because he's playing Aquaman's Alfred.
really?
Butler.
Okay.
Yeah, like, he's the whatever Alfred is to Batman as Willem Dafoe is to
Oh, shit,
Got it.
that's funny.
Khal Drogo.
I don't know. I don't know Aquaman lore, so
Yeah, no. So he's got a buddy. He's got a scientist
I was
buddy.
about to say nobody knows his backstory.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so he's in the bathroom, and I was like, holy shit, like that. Hey, I'm a huge fan. And another one of the movies that I like love and like made me want to make movies as a kid is Boondock Saints.
Okay, yeah, that's a great
movie.
Which I imagine Troy Duffy's a piece of shit because everybody hates him in Hollywood, but which I didn't bring up to.
well,
we're in the bathroom, and so
another time, another place.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just say hi to him, and he's like, hey, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, I just got off of Great Wall, and you were in that, and now you're here. And he was like, oh yeah. How's that coming along? And I was literally like, oh, should I lie to him? And
Super
tell him it's gonna like win Oscars or something?
Oh, and at that point, did you already know?
Well, as soon as you watch it, you kind of knew it was like not that it's bad. It's just like it's not significant. Like it's not heavy. It doesn't. You're not gonna leave the theater thinking like, oh my god, that was like. I left The Departed thinking like.
Yeah.
Tell everyone I know this is the best movie I've ever seen. And when you leave the Great Wall, you're gonna be like, man, should I ask for my money back, or am I okay with this?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you think you could already get that kind of feeling of the movie while you're going into what you do is the editing process, right?
Yes, I worked in editorial and I worked in VFX. So.
I was gonna ask, give us like a rundown of your actual job description for all the listeners.
So I first got hired at Legendary to work in the VFX department, which is visual effects, and I was just the VFX assistant. And so it's sort of like it depends on what you do, on what show you're on, but like it's a lot of like grunt work, it's a lot of like shitty work, it's a lot of like, you know, getting lunches and like running around doing random shit, but then it's a lot of database management as well. Like you're making every shot that comes in, or every shot that's in the movie, gets, if it's a VFX shot, if it has like a green screen or Wolverine's claws come out, or Matt Damon's, you know, ponytail's on fire or whatever, then that's a VFX shot, and so that'll get in your VFX tally. And so like on Great Wall, it was like 1,300 shots or something, which is like that's a good amount of shots. That's a lot of shots, and like so there's probably like 2,000 shots in the whole movie, so like half the fucking movie is VFX. But I mean that makes sense on that kind of movie, right?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
You're on the Great Wall, and obviously you're not shooting on the actual Great Wall, and it's a period piece and all that. And so those shots, you know, they take the shots on practically, and so like if like the shot was just me with like the Great Wall behind me, I'm on a green screen, right? So that's a VFX shot. Yeah. And so when we go in to post, then that shot gets divvied out to a vendor, whichever vendor you're using, and the vendor is just the artists that paint the Great Wall in behind you and composite shit in around your actors, and you know, create the monsters and whatever. And so on that movie, it was ILM, it's Industrial Light and Magic, which is like one of the big boys, obviously. And so then you send it to them and say, like, with notes, like, okay, instead of the green screen, this is what we need. And then they take a shot at it, and then they send it back to you, and that's version 1.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then your crew looks at it, and they say, more smoke, less arrows, you know, more monster, whatever.
Less hair.
Yeah, exactly. And they send it back.
Less ponytail.
I'm sorry.
There's
there it
actually,
is.
I don't even know. Like I struggle with what I should, some of the stories I should tell or shouldn't. But there's one with Matt Damon. There's a shot in the movie that he wanted out because he did not like how it made his body.
If you don't feel comfortable, just tell me after the mics are off, because that's all I want to know.
But I thought that was really interesting because it's a Matt Damon. Like, what the fuck does he care? You know? And he was just like, this makes me look fat.
Oh,
So it was like either reshoot it or paint it out.
Yeah.
wow.
And I'm pretty sure they reshot it in reshoots. When I saw the movie,
That's nuts.
I thought, that's a new shot. That wasn't in the original
That is
shots.
fucking funny.
So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense too. I mean, these guys, they do that for a living.
Yeah,
so,
this is their, you know.
but yeah, so they've sent it back, and that's version 1, and then we say fix it, version 2, and then they version up, and then you go back and forth with that. And sometimes they nail it on like version 4, you're good to go. But sometimes you're on like version like 238, and you're like, oh my god, dude, fucking do it right.
Just fix it.
Yeah,
already.
and I mean, like, I think it's to be expected on these shows, but that's part of when I first got a job there and started doing that kind of shit and watching them give notes and watching the back and forth, where I was just kind of like we're spending a lot of money to do this. Like, why are we spending, like, I get that this is a $150 million film.
Sure.
But man, it really feels like if you just said, like, go with version, what was so bad about version 200?
Yeah.
That we needed 38 more.
Between 1 and 250, was it really horrible? Like,
Right, I mean, and
was it the worst, or was it just?
And sometimes like you see, like, and my job was to create what's called like a shot tree, and all that is like a very organized way in your computers on your databases of storing the shots and being able to pull them up in a timely fashion and say, like, okay, you know, we can ship these off, you know. And so, like, when I was on Logan, I was doing a lot of that, shipping stuff to Technicolor and getting it back, and like, you know, because they would color the film and fix all their little issues. And so, you know, we're dealing a lot with like these weird, like, Aspera, which is like a program that I think was made by ILM, or maybe everybody has their own version, because at ILM it was called Speeder Bike. You know, it's named after the little fucking zipper thing in Star Wars. And I thought this was like a bad robot cup for a second.
Oh no, it looks like it. It's a fake.
But yeah, no. So they
It's a knockoff bad robot cup.
But yeah, so we use that Aspera thing, and it's really just like a huge file transfer. So you can send these big files with shots, you know, big shots back and forth.
shit.
You know, so.
Wow.
And another one called CineSync, where you're setting up like basically it's FaceTime or Skyping with people around the world, and you pull up your shots in it as well, and so like you can like use a pen and like circle like why does this motherfucker's face look like another person or whatever, you know, like, or like, oh look, it, you know, Daphne is, you know, we can see the face replacement's not good on this, like you need to, this doesn't look like Daphne. Or one of the big things in Logan was scaling Daphne's body because she's so
Really?
cause she's so
Yeah.
small.
No shit.
You know, and so because like they have, she doesn't do any of those fucking stunts. She's a kid.
Oh, of course not.
So they have like a tiny little Asian woman doing her
dear.
stunts.
Oh, wow.
So in all
Yeah.
those shots where like she's spinning around, like they just replace her face, And I
Yeah.
gotta say, like the face replacements on Logan are pretty fucking dope.
They looked great.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
never
look
even
really
know-
good.
That was-
I usually look for stuff like that, and I didn't see that.
There was like a couple of questionable ones that even we said like at the end of it, we're like by the end we're like only we notice. No one
Yeah.
else is gonna notice this. But the she was an adult, the woman who was doing it, so there were a few moments where like when she would like stretch out or something, where it's like, oh, she doesn't really look like a kid there, and so they would have to thin her, but when they thin her, she was too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
was about to
then
say
they-
she's too tall.
So they'd have to shrink. They have to like scale her. And these were issues that came up towards the end of Logan that we were just like, are people going to notice this? Do we
blah
need to
blah
send out
blah
things?
proportions. Blah
Exactly.
blah blah.
Yeah. And then and then you send it off to the VFX artists who get paid fucking peanuts. It's terrible. Like the VFX industry is a fucking racket. You gotta
Really?
think. I mean, I'm not trying to. I love working in Hollywood.
It's amazing.
She always caressing
So
it.
please, if you are listening to this and you are like,
I can tell you for sure nobody's listening to this.
Don't worry. It's
Nobody
all-
that you care
all
about.
friends and family.
okay. Well, I love working there in Hollywood, and I'll take jobs on any show. But the
I love
VFX
it.
industry needs like a major overhaul because it is terrible, and not even for me. It's not even for like the studio side of things. For artists who put in the work and make these things look amazing, and like for as much as you want to say like fucking Thor looks amazing in that, like somebody sat there and did that.
Oh, yeah.
And they did an amazing job, and they got paid nothing to do it, and they got paid. I mean, honestly, it's like those food documentaries where you see the chickens and like there's like a bajillion of them, and they're feeding them, and they're all fat
They're feeding them themselves.
they're all
It's
fat and
really
broken,
great.
and there's a bajillion of them. Like this, that's what it feels like in the VFX industry, because there are so many artists who get paid so little to do this work, and they work like insane hours.
And they'll do it.
Because
you'll
if they
do it.
don't, someone else will.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and this is like there was some company out here in California, I think, and they were like bragging about all these interns that they had doing all this work, and I was like,
So
they're unpaid.
free work, yeah.
that's called slavery. Like, you can't do that.
Must
bro.
be nice.
Like, yeah, and then he's like, well, that's not how we meant it. I was like, bro, we know how you meant it. We meant it like, look at me fucking the little guy over because they'll do
Working
it.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And the VFX industry, I mean, there was actually a little short film made called like Hollywood's Greatest Trick or something that's all about the VFX industry, and it was on like SAC B's website and like the Modesto B's website, and it was like you could watch it for free
wow.
there. And it's only like a half an hour long, and it was really worth a look because they have some legitimate VFX personas in it talking about how fucked up the VFX industry is. It really needs it to unionize. It's like the one department that doesn't have a union, and like people like I don't know love or hate unions. In Hollywood, unions run shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like like if
Actors
you're-
Guild.
Everybody. I mean, there's an Actors
There's
Guild,
all those
Directors Guild,
guilds, yeah.
Producers Guild, but really, I mean, when you're on set, there's gaffers and there's grips, and these guys are in different unions, and it's like, if you want a light, like if you're, like the fucking workflow on a film is crazy. Like if the director says like, you know what I'm thinking, I want something like a little more light over there. I'm going to shoot this on a long lens. So he's talking to like the DP and the DP's then talking to his, his AC. So the director of photography is talking to his camera assistants, and they're talking to gaffers, and then the gaffer's talking to his crew. And so all these Sparkies are running around with all shit. And so like literally if it just comes down to, we need a light over there, it's one union is grabbing the stand for the light, and another union is grabbing the light itself and the stinger that goes with it, the power cord.
Yeah.
And like it sounds ridiculous. And also if like you're a grip and you touch if you're not in electrical and you touch a cord or a light, you're fucking, first of all, you're probably fired.
Well,
and you're getting yelled at. Don't fucking touch that. That's my shit. Like,
You get the whole Christian Bale thing.
Man,
Totally,
see, you
yeah.
took my
Screams at
joke.
you.
I was gonna.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Which is really funny though,
Oh, well.
because like we actually on Logan we did that joke a lot with one of the coordinators, one of the supervising coordinators and the producers, and we see all the time. We're like, "What are you doing? Oh, you're looking at that? Good for you. Good for you."
So So you never got to go to any of the sets or anything.
So when I got on Logan, they had already shot. They were already in post. I was on the reshoots. So like when they did some reshoot stuff in LA.
Oh,
so
nice.
On that, I got to like visit the set and like drop shit off and bring stuff. So yeah, but yeah, the unions are nuts, and the VFX really needs a union because also what it comes down to is like it really keeps you employed too. Like you think you hate it, but also like once you're there, once you know the rules, it's awesome. You know, and like but like editing union is really hard to get into, and it's like you can't. To be an editor in Hollywood, you're going to be working on Avid, but in order to work on a big show, you're not allowed to touch the Avid unless you're already in the union. So you have to work all these non-union shows and get all these hours and whatever.
Because that's what I was going to ask. How hard is it to get your next gig?
Well, for me, it's sort of worked out. Like, it's just, you know, once you're in, like, then this is something like I was talking to the film school kids, like, you know, when they want me to come talk to the classes. And, like, that's really, it comes down to, like, who you know. Do you know someone? And if you do, you could be okay. I got really lucky, and I know a guy Tom Eldergroby, who is he's a VFX producer, and he's working on like producing, like getting just like legit producing credits on other shows. But like he did like Now You See Me, he did Cowboys and Aliens, and then now he just did Great Wall, and now he's on Deadpool 2. And
Oh wow.
Shit.
yeah, so like he's like, but he knows everybody, and he just happens. In fact, one of my short films is called A State Away, and it's was my short media film, and it's literally basically a true story about me and my best friend.
That's funny.
He hooked up with a girl who he had known forever, and he finally hooked up with her, and he's like perennially single and really bad with girls. And so there was a moment where he was like, "You're in charge of my love life." And I was like, I get to make all the decisions? He's like,
Yes.
yeah. I was like, I'm in, so fucking in. And so like I'm telling him like, oh, you ask that girl out right now. Like
That's
go
a
talk
great
to that
premise.
girl right now, right? You know, so
You were his life coach.
yes, exactly.
There it is. I love
Exactly.
it.
Hitch? Is
So,
it Hitch?
Yeah. And so he had finally hooked up with this girl who everybody had been like, dude, just make this happen. Like, she's clearly into you. You're clearly into her. It's been like a decade of knowing each other.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you guys should be hooking up.
Taking their time.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, there's a long, sordid history behind it. But anyway, so they wind up finally hooking up one time.
Perfect.
And then she was in the industry. She was working in the industry at the time. And so she went down to work on Cowboys and Aliens. And I guess while she was there, she met another guy, and I mean, not like she was tied down to my buddy, but she met another guy, and she started,
happens.
you know, stroke up a relationship or whatever. But she had been telling me like, oh, I would love to have you come down. She knew I wanted to get into the industry, so like, you should come down, visit. Where it's in New Mexico, like Santa Fe, like let's visit. And they had just hooked up, and I was like, sure, like me and Alex, we're gonna drive down there, right? And like, she's like, sure, yeah. So we drive. So I'm like, this is awesome. So we drive down there, thinking the whole time, like, you know, we're talking the whole way down. I was like, okay, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna do this? Like, you profess love, or are you just like playing it cool? Like, how are we gonna do this?
Shit.
And then we get there because we didn't know about this other guy. So then we get there in like the dead of night. It's like 1 a.m. and we're
love
like,
it.
hey, we're here. And she's like, oh, I'm in this room. Meet me there. And we're like, knock, knock, knock. And she opens the door, and she's like in a towel, and she's like, hey, my room's actually 3 doors that way. Here's the key. I'm gonna stay in Tom's room so you guys can have my room. Call me in the morning and we'll have breakfast.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck.
And like we had just driven. I mean, we drove
Oh,
from
my
Sacramento
God.
to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
6 hours.
No,
Oh, no.
yeah, it was
Oh,
it was,
yeah, no,
it was
that's
like
a
a
jaunt.
long,
Yeah.
And like we had gotten a ticket going down there, and like it was an experience. It was a long drive.
Shit.
And just the door shuts in our faces, and I'm just like, and I remember the moment like that door shut, and he like I was standing there, and he was standing next to me, and the door shut right in his face, and he just like his head just went down, and I just put a hand on his shoulder, and I was like,
That'll do, donkey.
I don't even know what to say to you right now, right? You know? So like, and we were also there for like a fucking week. So it was like, do we leave?
Shit.
Do I punch this guy in the face? Like,
Oh
what do
my
we
God.
do? You know? And
Wow.
so my film, I Stayed Away was that exact journey of going down there and like finding out this thing, and like my original ending of that movie, like I wrote it, and it was the door shuts, and like I put my hand on his shoulder, and I wanted to just run the credits. I was like, let's just fucking everyone's gonna be so sad, and it's gonna be awesome. Like, it's just like, because like in my mind was like it was a relationship story, but not about them, more about the friends,
Right.
the buddies, right? Because
Yeah.
like
It was good.
girls come and go, but like I'll be there, I'm with you, dude. I
Yeah.
got your back. And my professors were like, we need an ending, and I was like, oh, you guys suck.
Like
But
another
that's
one?
kind of the ending.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it goes on.
Right.
We're just gonna.
Yeah.
So-
You try to get artsy or try to get like philosophical in film school, and they're just like, no, make a fucking movie. Like just
no shit.
just make 3-act structure, give us an ending, you know,
Yeah, at the
give
end
us
of
an
the,
arc,
at
give
the
us a
end of the
hero's
day,
journey.
that movie is a road trip. It's a road trip.
Yeah, it's a road movie.
It's a
Yeah.
buddy comedy
Exactly.
road trip
Yeah.
kind of. But I have a question about that because I've seen a clip. I haven't seen the movie because I wasn't able to.
Okay.
But I've seen clips. It in real life, or as the kids would say, IRL. Did one of you pee on a tree and then try to shake the other one's hand?
That's in the thing, right? I don't think that actually
I saw that. It just made me laugh. So
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's in the
Oh,
trailer.
dear.
Yeah, he does do that in the trailer. I've known this guy like since I was in middle school, so I'm sure at one point or another,
Oh, yeah.
our pee has touched each other.
It happens.
It's happened. But yeah, so like that story is like a true story. But the point of that whole thing was that the guy that she wound up like hooking up with down there, who I met and then spent like the week with, I fucking hated his guts because like he was like taking the girl from my buddy, but. He was also, you know, someone to know in the industry.
There
and
it
so
is.
I was like, let's cultivate this relationship.
Yeah.
And so when I left, I was like text messaging and like emailing.
Really
and, like,
great to see you.
Yeah, and like, and turns out he's actually a really good guy, and like she has good taste in men, put it that way. Like, he's a really good guy, I went down there. I got a State Away and my thesis film reception and Quiet Culture actually got into festivals down in LA. And they were all there at the same time. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go to LA and represent my films. And so I went, and then like nobody showed up to watch my movies, which was awesome. Like I was like, it's at like LA Live, which is like a huge, like real theater.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, this is so cool. So like I go, and there's like no one, literally no one showed up. Like it was like one guy in the theater, and he left right before mine screened. He he watched for like 40 minutes and then took off. And I was like, and even my girlfriend was there to watch with me, and they got stuck in traffic, so they missed the first movie. So all 3 of my films played, and they missed the first one because they were stuck in traffic. And I sat in a theater all by myself in LA and watched my movie.
Did you clap for them? That's the
Fuck yeah! I clapped.
Yes, there it is.
And you know
I
what?
love it.
Even
Standing
more
ovation.
importantly, I laughed at appropriate times.
Good job.
Perfect.
Something that some audiences have trouble with.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, so like I went down there, and I have another buddy who's worked in TV for like a decade, and he worked on like The Amazing Race for like 10 seasons, and so he knows all these people in television and especially on the reality side. And I just needed a job. I had just graduated, so I was like, I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna represent my film, see if I can take some meetings. And my buddy had gotten me all these meetings at TV houses, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'll take a TV job. And I met with all these people, and they all seemed really gung ho to hire me, but none of them were like hiring at like that second. And so I got a guy who was like, oh, I'll call you tomorrow and let you know. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're good to go. I was like, all right, cool. And I had gone down there and met with Tom, who had just taken the job on Great Wall. And he took me into Legendary and showed me around Legendary, which was like such a tease, because I was like, I know, I mean, like, he's like, I don't have anything for you, like, there's no job right now,
But here it is.
like, here's what it looks like. And he takes me into Legendary, and it's incredible. Like,
No
it's just
shit.
like, it's 15-story building in Burbank. It's gorgeous. It's like brand new. There's like, you walk in and there's like they've got Donkey Kong. They've got all these like arcade games sitting there. So it's like Donkey Kong and Centipede and Miss Pac-Man and all this shit, and which I loved. It was such a cool experience and cool vibe in that place. And then he shows me around the whole office, and there's this paraphernalia everywhere, and like Warcraft was going on. They were shooting that at the same time, so all this Warcraft stuff everywhere, and it was just really cool. And then like the Superman, Batman, all these like different things. And I was like so jealous. I was like, oh man, someday I'm gonna make it here. You know, make it into a building like this. I'm gonna work here. And he shows me all around, and then I went to bed that night, and I got a call at 9 a.m. thinking it was the TV guy, and it was Tom, and he was like, yo, like, we just fired someone. Do you want a job?
Yes,
Hell
please.
yeah.
And I was like, yup.
Can
And
you
he's
give
like,
me a day?
He's like,
No.
you want to know the rate? I was like, nope. Like,
Yeah,
take it.
Whatever it is, I'll take it. So like he hooked me up, and I got the job. And then like an hour later, the guy from TV called, and it was a TV production house, and he was like, yeah, hey, we want to hire you. And I was like, about that.
Already took a job.
That's it. I got a job. And he's like, damn, I knew someone was going to snatch you up. Like I should have hired you
That's
yesterday.
badass.
So
So
that was cool. So like knowing him was my way in. And that is the most important thing for anybody trying to get into the film industry, is know that one person who someday is going to be able to help you, and make sure you keep yourself relevant in their mind in some capacity. Because then once you're in, then I met him, and then I met the supervisor on that show who had done like a bunch of other movies, Pirates movies and all that, like really huge things. Then in that department, there was also 2 coordinators who I met and an assistant coordinator who were all, all done other jobs. And so like, that's like a little network of people. And then we work really closely with the editorial crew. So I met the editor, the assistant, the second assistant,
there we go.
The 2, meet
Made
everybody.
an impression on
Right.
everybody.
And so I'm at Legendary and it's like, we're all in 2 floors. So I literally, like, if you walk by me, I was like, hi, my name's Curtis. What's your name? Like, I want to know everybody, and it really worked out for me because I got to like make this little network of people. And then when that show ended, it was like, okay, so how am I going to get a job? Like now, how does this work?
Yeah.
So I just told all of them, hey, like obviously I'm available. We just wrapped, so let's make another movie together. And so they all sent my resumes out to people who they knew who were hiring, and I got some calls from them. And it took me a while took me like 3 weeks to get a job in between the shoe shows. And then just randomly got a call from Kurt Williams, who's a supervisor on Logan. And he was like,
That is so cool.
you still available? I was like, yeah. He's
So-
like, come on in.
Take me into that kind of moment. You being an X-Men guy and this movie coming out, like, how excited were you?
So that it was really interesting because like I had like I decided to get an Uber like license and learn how to drive Uber and drive in LA, and like I needed some kind of money. Like,
Wait, do you not know how to drive a car?
I do. I don't know why I said it like that.
I was like,
Because I think an Uber
license.
license is a driver's license. I'm pretty sure.
I went because you don't really like go get a job with Uber. You
Sure.
just decide one day you're going to drive Uber and then you're driving Uber. That's basically how it works. So I decided to drive Uber because I wanted to make a little money and learn the city.
Sure.
And I had no job. And so I had like gotten up one morning. I was going to go drive Uber and I was like getting dressed and I get that phone call and it's like, hey, it's Kurt Williams. Like come in for an interview. Like we're on. He's like I'm on this show called Juarez over on the Fox lot. And I was like, okay. And he's like, are you available? We're looking for an assistant. I was like, absolutely. Like, when do you want to interview or you want to, I'll come in. He's like, yeah, come in tomorrow around 3. Everyone interviews tomorrow at 3. That's like always the thing. It's tomorrow at 3. That's the standard interview time.
It's
in
a good
LA.
time.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll be there. So I show up and the show, all I know is it's Juarez, and because that's the code name for the show. And so I walk in and there's like nothing really up anywhere. Like I can't really tell what's going on. Like sometimes you walk in, it looks like this, like if you walked into like Jim Mangold's office during Logan, it's like this room. It's like just shit everywhere, paraphernalia everywhere, all this cool stuff. And you're just like, he's got like really dope shit.
Yeah,
like
like
his stuff is
legit
like,
shit.
it's like commissioned artwork for Wolverine. Cause he made the other Wolverine,
Yeah.
it's just like all this really cool stuff. And so I show up and there's nothing on the wall. So I'm like, oh, I don't really know what this is. And then we sit down and he's like, and then they mentioned Logan and they hadn't announced anything yet. Like that wasn't technically the name of the film yet. Like they hadn't announced anything. And so they said Logan and I was like, what the fuck is Logan? Like is this some kind of Logan's Run
Logan
reboot? Or
who?
like what is Logan?
Well, yeah, because every other Wolverine was called Wolverine.
Wolverine.
The
wasn't,
Wolverine.
yeah.
and
Right.
it changed. It's still the same.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea what we were dealing with. And I did not have the wherewithal to even fucking IMDb Kurt, which I should have. Like, I should have just looked him up and been like, I know one person on the show. What is he working on now? And it probably would have told me upcoming projects, Logan sequel or Wolverine sequel, unspecified or something. But anyway, so I sit down and he says Logan. I don't really know what they're talking about. And then somebody fucking dropped the W bomb. They were like, yeah, so he's like Wolverine, so like older Wolverine.
Oh, and that Wolverine.
And I just I just instantly just whoop, like I was just rock hard. I was rock hard for
The
that.
table hits.
Yeah,
all thuds.
yeah. I was
I'm
like,
rock hard now.
yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, you mean like the Wolverine? Like we're talking like X-Men.
Mr. Jackman.
Yeah, we're talking. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh my god, like I had to I literally had to take a moment and compose myself because I was like, don't freak out because they will not give you this job, but holy fuck, I want this job.
That is
Inside,
so
you
good.
Yeah, I'm
just
just
like a kid.
screaming.
You just fangirl it up. It's really great.
Yeah, and so, but then it got to the point where I got to tell them, I was like, I am a huge X-Men fan. I remember, I mean, in Sacramento kids might remember, I went to, I remember I was at Lisbon Elementary School. I was in, first grade, maybe? It was either first or fifth grade, because that was when I was at that school. But remember, Chris Eddy was like the guy who was like the Captain Kangaroo of Fox 40 Kids.
Oh yeah.
He,
yeah.
he was
yeah,
like the
yeah.
host, like the MC of
Yeah.
kids. And Chris Eddy came to our school for some rally thing.
Why not?
And he was out on the playground during a recess, and all these kids were like mobbing him for autographs. And I remember just like working my way through that crowd, and I like grabbed him, and he turned around. And he was like, "What do you want me to sign?" I was like, "Nothing." When does X-Men start? On Saturday mornings, like when does that? Because I knew I'd heard somehow. I don't know where was I getting my news when I was that young. But I knew that X-Men was coming. I knew it was coming. I needed him to tell me what day because I needed to make sure I was in front of the TV. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I think it's in like 2 weeks on Saturday morning." I was like, "I will be there." And so like, I mean, that was like my thing. Like, I couldn't wake up in the morning to go to school, but I'd wake up at 8 a.m. just to watch cartoons on Saturday morning. And I fucking loved the X-Men cartoon, and that was where
that
I
was a great
cultivated
one.
my hatred for Jubilee.
As you do.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
Starts off the whole show.
God damn it, she sure does, and it's
Yeah.
just like, why did they do that? But yeah, so like I was like, I'm just a huge fucking X-Men nerd.
Would you consider this? Of course, this was a dream job for you.
Yeah, totally. This was like when I got it, I was like, this is it's interesting actually because like it's a dream job as like. Fifth grader me, first grader me.
Oh, yeah.
This is a dream job.
Yeah.
Like today,
I like that you don't know. You're like, I know it's first or fifth.
I bounced around to
Not
a lot
in
of
between.
schools.
Not in
you know
between.
What, it probably was actually third grade because I know I was there for third grade. I was actually there for third grade. Mrs. Jurgen's class.
Oh.
And
Shout out to Mrs.
Shout out to
Jurgen.
Mrs. Jurgen and her licorice that she gave me every day.
That's not like a euphemism
No,
for anything, is it?
no, that was
it's literally just
fucking red vines.
Oh, perfect.
Not Twizzlers, red vines.
No.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I am a red vine.
Yeah, I'm a red
person.
vines guy. But yeah, no, so like, it's a dream job for that me because like I loved X-Men, so like I mean I guess technically if I got a Ninja Turtle job I'd love that too. So
Sweet.
Fucking.
So what's a
Michael
dream job
Bay
for you
screws.
now?
But so like now dream job, and I guess Logan sort of fits on both ends because Logan is the type of movie I would make myself. It just would not nearly be with such a huge budget probably. Like $100 million is a lot of fucking money.
Really?
But like the movies because like I want to make. I don't want to make spectacle films. I want to make movies that like are about people and about story and about characters.
I think that's a good. I know I was kind of shitting on superhero Logan
Right.
being a superhero movie, but I think that's great. You've got these all these superhero movies coming out, and people are like they're going the way of the Western. Well, what's the next step? Is to take the step like Logan to make it more real and make it. Now we may not have been ready for that. Back in the late 90s when we got X-Men for the first time, but I think we are now. Like let's dumb down maybe the bright, colorful costumes and let's
Right.
kind of get more into serious plots and story.
Make it
Exactly.
a little more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that type of film. And what's funny is like Little Miss Sunshine was like a big influence.
We
on
saw that, yeah,
Jim Mangold for this film, and that's like one of my favorite movies ever.
really
and
good.
I always say when people are like, "What kind of movie do you want to make?" I'm like, "So I was like, you seen Little Miss Sunshine?" I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's the kind of movie I want to make. Like, I want to make something that like it's fun and it's funny and it's dramatic and it makes you think. And at the end of it, you might feel like a better person for watching it, or you might feel like you understand something about yourself or someone else a little bit better. Like I don't want to make. I mean, I don't want to make, Independence Day. I don't want to make those big, shiny movies that like aliens and spaceships and blowing up. But I'm more than happy to work on them right now.
Sure.
But yeah,
I'll do it.
Now you're not saying as a visual effects artist because that's kind of what you would need to do, right? Something more big, and
right. If you're not,
spectacle.
and that's the other thing. Like, I'm not a VFX artist. I work in VFX, but I'm not an artist.
it.
Like, I'm never putting any art down on anything. I don't
Got
have that. Like, there are in-house artists that come in and they work in the same office as us, and there's only like 2 or 3 of them usually on a show, and they will they do the work. They do the same work as a vendor, but then you have also like 2 or 3 other vendors out there who you communicate with on a daily basis, and they have artists that work at those vendors that are doing the real work, doing the shit that like you see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't see what I'm doing. You see what they're doing though.
Got it.
And so it's I would never say that I'm a VFX artist, and I have all the respect in the world for those guys who are VFX artists, because it is a hard fucking job.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, I read something about Guardians of the Galaxy having one of the biggest visual effects sequences of all time. What does that mean?
Well, so like you break the movie down into sequences. Really, it really is just scenes, like every scene, but it isn't always the whole scene, but you do have sequences. And so like in and you name them all, and so when you're working on it, like every shot would be like, we're talking about like PB 1546. You know, like that's when you're in a meeting, like, oh yeah, bring your PB 1546, and what are we talking about? Like,
Sure
what's
thing.
different? Yeah. And so somebody, pulls it up, and then they look at it, and that's what they're, that is what they're doing. And so like in Logan, PB was Psionic Blast, and Psionic Blast was in the casino when Charles has his seizure, and like, shaky cam, which was also really cool. Like if I'm sure it'll be on the special features, but like they actually shook the camera to do that. Like,
That's
it's not,
cool.
Oh, wow.
that wasn't an effect like that.
That's
They shook the
funny.
camera to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and my arm is in that scene.
Really?
What?
I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, you will never be able to tell, but it is my arm.
There it is.
Hey, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like that sequence, and some of them are much longer than others, obviously. And like, 'cause like there's like, LM was one of them, and that's Liberty Motel. And it was like, when you remember when they were at the Liberty Motel, like there wasn't a ton going on there, but there was some things that they needed to touch up in VFX. So there was like, 8 shots or something. So in Sonic Blast, every shot is that.
Oh, sure.
And so there's like a couple, maybe like 100 different shots in that sequence. And so what they're saying is, and like Guardians of the Galaxy is another one where like I can't imagine there are any shots that are not VFX shots.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it's
what I'm thinking.
in space.
Yeah,
Now-
exactly.
Now I might be wrong with this, but what is the difference between like visual effects in a movie with real humans and, let's say, Frozen, where they're building the castle?
I guess because there are visual effects in like those animated
would think
features.
that might be
but
something-
like I guess I can't really speak to that because like, but I would imagine there's some stuff that's getting done with like, the animations getting done with like. I don't think they're doing pens or anything anymore, like pen and paper.
Right.
But like they're on a computer, and so maybe it's just different software that they're
Okay,
using.
alright.
And then the VFX are like the explosion of snow or something that they
Got
use.
it,
But
okay,
for the
okay.
most part, probably all of those are also VFX shots.
Yeah, it's funny because I still can't fathom like what does the VFX shots mean, because I know I think the number in Jurassic Park, the VFX shots in Jurassic Park was like 60 or 70. In the
Really?
original, yeah,
That's what they say is 50 or 60 shots?
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
it's 60 or 70. And to think about it, because I know for a fact, because I've heard him talk about it in Yoga Hosers from Kevin Smith, he had 120 VFX shots
Right.
in Yoga Hosers. I'm just like, how does he have more visual effects shots than Jurassic Park?
That sounds so wrong to me. How
Right?
could that possibly be true? Now I'm gonna watch Jurassic Park and just count because, like, yeah, I can count to 60. Like, I can't count to 1300. I'm not counting those shots. But also in Jurassic Park, which is a movie that, like, obviously one of the greatest VFX movies of all time.
Oh
probably.
yeah.
I won't bring up
and-
the buttholes this time. I won't do it.
He has this whole stupid thing.
The dinosaurs don't have buttholes.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't. Like,
He knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I mean, also, but like Velociraptors also had feathers, so
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is you can take a little bit of leeway, a little bit of liberty here.
Yeah.
I have a question about like in Star Wars, the new one that they've come out, how they build more props and kind of stuff like that. Do you like that more than visual effects in movies?
100%. So like, yeah, I think what you're talking about is like the idea that they're making, they're going with practical
Yes.
shit. Like, yeah, it's way better because for me, like my version of filmmaking is if you can't get it in camera, then we're not going to get it. So I don't like, you want Jar Jar Binks, then you better fucking have a guy stand in there and be Jar Jar Binks in my movie. Like, I'm not doing some cartoon shit later on.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, I don't want to do that.
And that's what my favorite Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
All practical effects.
effects.
And I don't think that movie would have been as good with those as VFX. It just wouldn't have been good.
And that movie is so underrated. Like people don't.
so
like, and I love that. I love the casting of that movie.
Yes.
Fucking Mos Def is like one of my favorite people on the planet.
He was great in that
And
movie.
they
He's
just
a great
like
actor.
when it was him in it, I was like, what? What are they doing? Then you watch it, I'm like, fucking geniuses. And like, of course, like it didn't make much money, and they should probably still be making movies.
And that movie put me on to Sam Rockwell. Zaphod
yeah.
Beeblebrox is like
he's
the
ridiculous,
man.
yeah.
And then he goes on to Moon and all. And Moon is another one that's
Moon-
underrated. But
Here, I got your story for Moon for you. Duncan Jones is the director of Moon, and he's also the director of Warcraft. And so when we were
shit,
at
I didn't even.
when I was at Legendary, his office was right outside of the Great Wall's office area. And so I'd walk over there all the time. He was between me and like accounting, so I'd have to go over there all the time. And he was never there because they were in post, and so like he was off doing his own thing and like, But another thing that most people don't know about Duncan Jones is, do you guys know who Duncan Jones's father is?
No.
Duncan Jones's original name is Zoe Bowie. And his dad is David Bowie.
Get the
yeah.
No way.
And so David Bowie died while we were
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. David Bowie died while we were there.
Oh.
And so, but he also dropped his album Black Star right when he died.
Yeah.
Super smart, like marketing, like fucking genius, right? And obviously like he knew he was going to go, and so he was like, okay, well, we'll plan it out.
That record
Johnny Cash
was
did
going
it, so.
for like ridiculous money.
And the album is so good too. But anyway, so then so when he died, I was just listening to that album over and over again. I was like, man, it's so fucking good. And then I'm like doing some research on him, and I'm like, wait a minute, like Wikipedia is claiming that motherfucker's office is right out there, and that's his kid. Like I had no idea that that Zoe Bowie was Duncan Jones. And so my father passed away before, like a little bit before I took this job. And I don't know if you guys ever lost a parent. It's fucking the worst thing that ever happened. It's terrible.
Sure.
And so, and it was like totally a surprise, and I had no idea it was coming. And long story short, I walk over there and to talk to his assistant, who was it was this really cool girl who was his assistant. She was in his office all the time. So I just went over there to talk to her because I had a minute. And I go over there and she's not in there, but he is. Oh. And I'm just like, oh. And I just walked in. I didn't knock. Like I just walked in.
Shit.
And I was just like, oh. Like I was like, hi, sorry, I was looking for Ellie. I wasn't looking for you. And he's like, yeah, no worries. And I was like, yeah. And then I was in there, like I'm in this moment, and I was just like, fucking loved Moon, dude. Like,
Oh shit.
so good. So good. And he's like, thank you. And he like loves Moon, and he has like all the paraphernalia. Like he has the fucking spacesuit from Moon that he brings into the office just to like be in his office.
He has Kevin Spacey just hanging in a closet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so I'm in the moment. I tell him I love Moon. He's like really appreciative of it, which I thought was awesome of him to like even speak to me. And then okay, so I'm an idiot, and I'm just like, and man, like, so sorry to hear about your dad. Like I'm like he was a fucking hero. Love Bowie, and I like love Bowie. And I'm just like, love David Bowie. I loved your dad, and like I just gotta tell you, like my dad died like last year, and I know how hard it is to lose a parent, and so I'm really sorry that you're like going through what you're going through, and like just want to say I'm here. I support you. I'm a fan. And like my dad died,
And I'm
like,
here if you want to talk or anything.
No, yeah, and I was like, my dad's not even, my dad's not even David Bowie, and it was awful, and it was terrible when he died. But my dad's name is David, and so I was like, my dad wasn't even David.
You
Bowie,
had a BVS moment, Martha. It's like
exactly,
Martha.
yeah. And because I literally said to him, oh my dad wasn't even David Bowie. And it was terrible for me to go through.
Such a funny.
So
that's a funny line. It shouldn't be funny, but that's a really funny line.
And I was like, and I can't even imagine. So I can't even imagine what it was like for you to go. I mean, my dad was David. He was a David, but he wasn't the David. So I can't imagine what it was like for you to lose David Bowie. I just lost a different David.
We're Bowie fans here. We got the Labyrinth pops.
Oh yeah, I love God. The Labyrinth's so good.
Yes.
So
some of our haters are gonna hate you now.
Oh, I love it.
Some of our
they don't like him. They don't like him.
We've gotten ripped because it was one of my top 5 80s movies.
How can you? Okay, that's great. I'm fine with that. But how can you fucking hate? Do they just not like the ranking?
No, they didn't
No,
like.
they
They think it's
hated
just a shitty
Labyrinth.
movie.
Oh, it's just a bad movie. Well, fuck those people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really funny too because I was actually trying to decide what to wear here, and I wore this like Star Wars shirt.
Love it.
Nice.
But the other shirt is a Magic Dance tour shirt from
that's
1980s,
awesome.
and it's just this totally fake music tour that has David Bowie on it and his like hair, and he's Jareth from the fucking Labyrinth.
That's so cool.
And fuck those people. Like, you're stupid. Like,
Because that's like a big thing on our shows. We do like top 5 favorite superheroes or top 5
We've done quite a
80s
few,
movies and all this kind of.
I love top 5 stuff. But have you seen High Fidelity or Red High Fidelity?
Yes.
Because that's like huge top 5 thing for High Fidelity. I love that's like actually top 5 books of all time. High Fidelity is one of my top 5 books of all time.
Oh wow!
And High Fidelity, the movie even would probably be like in my top 10. I love that movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, John Cusack and
Yeah.
Jack Black, fucking so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, that's cool.
I'm kind of.
What else do we have?
Yeah, I know. Sorry,
It's
we
just
get
that we
caught
can
up
go
in the
all
stories.
day.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
yeah,
like,
I
oh,
feel
shit.
bad. Like you guys must edit, right? Like who does that?
Actually,
We're
we
actually,
don't.
yeah, we're
We
one of
never edited.
But we never even started. Like we don't even have like a bumper in or anything.
I know,
You guys are just
that's
gonna
the
go for it.
We kind of do that editing afterwards. We
Right,
do
but
we'll
like
cut to the
all
intro.
of this is gonna go in.
There's a lot
Pretty
of shows.
much, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of podcasts that they do a lot of editing and cutting out.
Yeah.
We mostly we actually changed from what we usually do. Is we usually just have something that we press and it starts the intro music,
Right.
and we just go. We don't do anything.
So this actually reminds me of, I don't know if you guys listen to Mark Maron, your podcast.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
But I always, there's always this moment at the end of his podcast where like they're like, so like, are we done? Or, did we start?
Yeah.
Like, because he's so good at just talking, like sitting down and talking to people, and it's always just like, oh, so we're gonna start now. Like they talk for like an hour, and he's just like, okay, so now we're gonna get started. And this is like this moment. Like
all of us, we're we're a little intimidated, a little nervous. We're like didn't know
and
what
like,
to expect.
That's so funny because like you should not be like. I mean, I literally I did like my job has so much to do with getting lunch that you don't even understand. So like I mean, I'm very close to not having to do that shitty work anymore. But like
dear.
right now, you're.
But
yeah.
you don't
Talk to me in
realize-
5 years and I'll shit on you.
Please,
But-
please come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, exactly. I've been strutting my shit. I'm like, hey,
dear.
you seen that movie Logan that's out there? Like, fuck yeah, movie's awesome.
By the way,
We got somebody that's on it.
We
And
got
we got
somebody.
an editor,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, wait, from that movie." Like, I was like, "Yeah."
I
And they
didn't
were
even,
like,
and I worked on VFX. I didn't even work on the edit team on that one. So
they don't need to know that.
okay,
it's-
so.
But it's on here.
VFX
now.
is like editing.
Yeah, it's the same
there
thing.
are VFX editors.
I'm basically Hugh Jackman. Is what? That's what
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
what
yes.
it is. I love
Yeah,
it.
You're
pretty close
you're
to-
huge Ackman.
Yeah.
Oh, you were the coach of the Raiders. Yeah, there it is.
So we have a few questions that we ask our visitors when they
Sure.
come in. You talked about your favorite You were more of a Marvel guy.
Total Marvel guy.
Who is one of your favorite characters?
I see this like you get into fights with people and like
Oh, yeah.
people like to like shit on your favorite characters.
Of
Like,
course.
let's just get this out of the way. If your favorite character is Cyclops, you're an asshole. And that anyone else, if you could say anyone else and you're okay.
Jubilee, perfect.
Like, oh, well,
okay.
you're just like no one would actually. Jubilee isn't Jubilee's favorite X-Men. Like she would. Nobody says.
I don't have a
Jubilee.
Jubilee tattoo.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous. But yeah,
You just heard him say he hates
know.
DC
I
characters.
know. I know.
but yeah. So
I got Superman too.
well, and
matters.
that's another one too. Is like if you say Superman's
Too
your
easy.
favorite,
It's
it's
too
like,
easy.
dude, really?
Yeah.
Like the guy who can't lose is your favorite.
Thank you. That's how I feel. He's got no weakness.
Like you're such a fucking front runner. Are you a Laker, Yankee, Cowboy fan
wow,
too? Like
nice.
is that what
I'm an
you-
A's. I'm an A's.
Yeah,
fan.
there you go.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
A's.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
those are my boys. You a Giants fan over there?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fuck you.
Oh, I love it.
I don't watch sports.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, you know, that's funny. Too. Like, I went to film school, so I'm very well versed with talking to people who don't know sports. Because, like, literally, I went to film school, and nobody gave a shit about sports but me and, like, one other dude.
Yeah.
And we just both happened to be Philadelphia Eagles fans. And so, like, we, like, really bonded while that.
There it is. I love
Yeah,
it.
like, we got each other. But, yeah, so, like, my favorite character's in Cyclops. So let's just say you can't shit on me, but I'm a fucking, I love Gambit. Like, so
Gambit's a
much.
great
Oh,
character.
love
He
I
is a
love
great
Gambit.
character.
And like people, I get a lot of flack from people who are just like, "Oh, Gambit's so stupid." And
See,
blah, blah, blah.
when I was a
But
kid,
see-
I was more of a Gambit fan than a Wolverine fan.
Oh yeah, I was not a Wolverine fan. Like Wolverine was Leonardo to me. Like who likes
Yeah.
Leonardo? I mean, like because like they had red team, they had the gold team and the
yeah.
blue team, and so it was like you had Storm on one side and Cyclops on the other, and so like to like Cyclops is just you're a fucking prick. But if you liked Wolverine, it was like okay, so you like the one guy everyone likes, Like,
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Sweet dude.
Get into it a little, read something, get interested.
But
like
see, that sucked in the movies. I was so excited for when they were going to bring in Gambit because I loved Gambit. But
Yeah.
what bugged me was in the cartoons, like you talked about that you were big in. One of my favorite things was how Gambit used to be with Rogue. how
yeah.
their whole interaction, I loved her.
Yeah.
And
I
her
loved
in the
Rogue, yeah.
movie,
yeah, Anna Paquin.
yeah,
Yeah.
horrible.
Although I gotta say, one of my favorite interactions in the first movie is between Hugh Jackman and Anna Paquin. Like when they're in the truck
Oh,
together.
yeah, that was-
and, like,
yeah, that
it's
was
really
good.
it's like that was the type of thing where it's like That's what the X-Men movie should be about. Like characters, like getting us a little extra with these guys because they just introduced too many characters too quickly, and you can't get into any of
But
them.
and once again, back then in 1999, you can't do that. That's why they wore black, and that's why you couldn't make it a hard comic book movie. You couldn't do it.
No,
it just wouldn't.
But even if you were gonna go lighthearted and fun, like you could have given us just a little bit more of people, and like they couldn't even fit in all the fucking movies that they wanted. Like they like the Storm is so terrible in them.
Oh my god!
And it's just like you know what happens to a frog when it's struck by lightning or whatever. It's like same thing that happens to everything else. Like it's such a terrible line, but like that line makes sense in the original script because she says that he says that the Toad character says that 15 times throughout the movie. He says like, "No, what happens when this happens?" And like it's like a running gag. So in the end, it pays off when she kills him and she uses that line against him. So like it would have been like at least you would have understood it. But in the original one, you're just like, what the fuck, Halle Berry? That was awful. What was that? Like, that was so terrible.
I've always wanted to say that to her. What the fuck, Halle Berry?
What the fuck, Halle Berry? Yeah, I'm a big Halle Berry fan, just not a big Storm.
There it is.
Actually, I love Storm, just not her version of Storm.
Yeah.
And that's not, no fault to her own. Not like Catwoman. I'll blame her for Catwoman.
God. We rip on that a lot.
Yeah, but I won't blame her for Storm.
So wait, did you mention a character?
Gambit. I love Gambit.
Okay, you said
I love
Gambit.
and
Okay.
it in the long run, it makes a lot of sense in my life to love Gambit because I am a big gambling guy too, and I played poker for a living for a couple of years. Like,
oh
that's
wow!
all I did. And so I always I always thought like how fucking stupid you can do anything. You make anything into a small projectile bomb, and you pick the thing that's the hardest to throw in playing cards. Like what the fuck, Gambit? But it just showed how awesome and accurate he was.
Why don't you just pick a feather and use that?
I know, right? It's so stupid. Like, I mean, you know what I would do? I have a bucket of baseballs, and like that's awesome because they're so easily thrown. Yeah. But he's got a deck of cards and he's just like flicking them at you, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we got him, chilling right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love me some Gambit, and so, but I loved his whole I loved everything about his backstory, his accent, his love for Rogue, because Rogue was like stupid hot.
Oh my god,
so hot. And
that was my first crush, probably as a kid.
Yeah, Rogue.
Yeah.
There was a comic book of an edition. One of the comics was the cover was all white, and it just had Rogue and Gambit on the cover kissing.
Yeah, I got that one.
I remember that. And I remember seeing that, and I remember as a kid thinking, "What the fuck? Why is this happening?" Like I grab it. I'm like, buy this right now. Like I need to know why they're kissing. That is uncalled for. They should not be doing that.
That's funny. What shows are you watching right now?
Oh God, dude, I watch everything. I am like especially when I first got a job in LA.
So what did you think of the Bachelor finale?
Okay, I don't watch The Bachelor.
Sorry, sorry.
And actually, I was just telling my girlfriend last night. I was like, you know what is the worst thing about The Bachelor? I hate people who watch The Bachelor. I hate The Bachelor, but I also hate everyone that watches it. If you watch The Bachelor, then you can root for Cyclops because you're an asshole. Like, I fucking hate The Bachelor.
Those are nothing but Cyclops.
And I've never watched The Bachelor, so maybe like the production value is really well done. Maybe it's got good production value. Maybe it's actually a decent show. But to me, like the premise seems so dumb, and I have no desire to watch it, and I just won't. And I hate this fucking spectacle of it. Like I hate that people are like, oh, is it Mondays? Is it on Mondays?
See what's funny.
It's Bachelor Day. Like,
well, if Bachelor was made now, it wouldn't be called Bachelor. It would be called live. It would be a live action Tinder. That's what it is.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
literally what it is.
So, but I watch everything. So I have like what we call Sacramento shows that I don't know what time or station they were on. I just know that I recorded them when I was up here. And so when I got to LA, I couldn't find them. And so I just keep them on my girlfriend's DVR. And so Gotham is there, which I know is a Fox show.
Yeah.
But I don't know when it's on. So I only watch it when I'm in Sacramento. So I watch Gotham. I just got caught up on The Walking Dead, another Sacramento show.
Sorry about that.
Are you still enjoying that?
So Walking Dead?
Yeah.
I don't know. I gave up on it so long ago that
I'm still watching.
I don't really care. But this season wasn't. It's a long draw. It's a long draw. It's a long con to get us to the end. But Negan is kind of a badass.
Yeah. He's not liking him because
really?
he read the comic and he's
okay. So I've never read the comic.
No,
I never read
that's
the comic.
fine. Yeah.
So wait, does it go down like that for Glenn in the comic?
Yes. Exactly.
Spoiler alert. Yeah,
Everybody
okay.
knows
Yes.
by now.
Yes.
No, and that's the thing. Like I'm so far behind, I did not know, and it was such a huge thing, and I never got it ruined for me.
Yeah.
No one ever
Oh,
told me,
wow.
and
That's
so I was
good.
like, I was so lucky to get as far as I did, and so I got to watch it and be surprised like months later. And
Wow.
I was
doesn't
like,
happen nowadays.
And when it happened, I was just like, I can't
Yeah.
believe no one spoiled that for me.
What sucks is I was buying the comics. This was 3-4 years ago now, and I was like, I'm gonna buy issue. That's when it happened, issue 100. And I was like, I'm gonna buy issue 100 because everybody's talking about it, but I don't want it. I wanted to read. I was still reading. I think I was like on issue. I was reading on my Kindle. I was on issue like 66.
Oh wow, so you had a long way to go.
But I wanted to buy it, and in the title on eBay of the description was like issue 100. Glenn dies. I'm like, what
the fuck?
Come on!
That's terrible.
Fuck you,
right.
eBay.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's really bad.
The
I would be
worst,
so
but-
pissed.
But yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, so I did not see it coming, and
Wow.
it surprised me, and I was upset about it. Now that I know it is the way it goes down in the comic book, that makes me happy that they stuck to it a little bit. Like,
It's sad it was way more sad in like I felt more emotions reading it
Right.
than watching. And I love Stephen Yeun is wonderful.
He's great.
Super awesome. He just had a kid. I love
I
you.
just hope he continues to get work.
Yeah.
because like seriously, like the plight of an Asian actor is not
Right.
insignificant. Like it's hard to get
and
work.
he's such a good actor.
He is
too.
really good.
Can we just stop with Abraham? Maybe we could just kill Abraham and
Yeah.
leave
Yeah,
it at
right?
that.
Yeah, right. And like I actually really liked Abraham too.
No,
Yeah,
he was
me
good.
too.
I liked
I
him
was
too.
pissed.
Yeah.
I love that he got to stick it to what's her face? What's her name?
Rosita?
Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, oh yeah, Rosita's hot.
Christian
Oh, yeah.
Christian Sorrento. There it is.
Yeah.
That's a real
so
name. Yeah.
okay, let's talk about because I just got caught up with Walking Dead. I have a question since
Okay.
you have read the
Sure.
comics.
I know a little bit about a lot of things.
So in the last episode, Rosita and what's her face,
Sasha.
Sasha. Yeah, so they go in.
They're not watching. I am.
Oh wait, are you
yeah.
guys? You
No,
know,
they're-
no,
they
I-
stop.
I
I
kind
don't
of felt
care.
like after that episode with Glenn, I was like, I don't think I can get any more out of this show. It's not that it's bad. It's not that
yeah.
I'm bored of it, but I'm like, I feel fulfilled with how much death I've gotten and how many good characters have died, and I think I'm good.
I think
Yeah.
that, and so I think that makes you sort of more refined kind of watcher because
You know
this
when
is
to
how,
stop.
Exactly, but no one knows when to stop in the industry. They really don't. Like, what season are we on?
7.
What the fuck? Like, there should be 6 seasons in a movie should be the only thing. Like, that's the max.
Wrap
right?
it up.
Yeah, let's finish this thing out. Otherwise you go the road of Lost. Like, you get 7 seasons.
Yeah,
6 seasons. is
you
terrible.
never. I don't think we're ever gonna see the days of like, oh, yeah, Breaking Bad. I have a plan for Breaking Bad, and it's done at 5 seasons, and I know it's done
Be
at 5
done.
seasons.
Yeah,
that's
be
it,
done.
and it has an ending.
Right.
Walking Dead, Kirkman, I don't think has an ending for the show.
Right. But is there an ending for the comics?
I don't see it happening.
So there you go. So at this point, you're in a weird realm where like you can go until because there's so much content.
Yeah.
But there are so many shows out there that like you get to like season 4 and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. Like Lost was that way. Like Lindelof and Abrams when they started it, they didn't know how they had like a sort of vague idea of what they were going to do, but then Fox, was it Fox or ABC? It was ABC. Kept ordering seasons, and they were like, we don't know what to do.
We're
like
fucked.
we have to just keep going, and now I mean, you can imagine those writing rooms like, okay, we got another season. Well, you say a word and you say a word, we're gonna go with it. And it was just like, smoke monster, cool, smoke monster. We're doing that. We're doing that shit all the time. Smoke monster.
That first season though,
So good.
is
So, even season 2
The
is
first
good.
episode.
Amazing, right?
was-
Great show for 2 seasons, and then it really fell apart. And when it ended, I was just like, man, fuck you. Like,
And
why
see,
you do this to me?
that's why I'm actually glad because I watched Leftovers.
Lindelof better not do it again. I'm
Well,
watching.
no,
him-
this is the last season. First of all,
I know, but it better have a fucking answer because I
No,
love
no.
The Leftovers.
Okay,
and I
hold
don't
on.
want to get
I've
shit
never
on.
watched it.
Look, I know we're really long, but what do you want? Do you want an answer to where they went? Because you're not getting it.
I want something. Give me some, even
Well,
if it's a
because-
small bow that you put on the
Okay,
top.
You've seen the first season, and then the second season went like
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
because they didn't have to follow a book. Season
Right.
1 is the book.
Okay.
I think it's gonna get way weirder, and I have no idea what that last. If somebody knew what the last 10 minutes of that show was gonna be, the very last 10 minutes, I wouldn't believe them.
Right.
Because
yeah.
you just can't even fathom
They
what
better not
what
fuck me
they.
again.
How do you feel about Legion? Are you watching that?
Love Legion.
Oh, yeah.
Love
It's-
Legion. Love Legion. I'm a little worried that lead is gonna get too big. because he's the
Dan
Beast in Beauty and the
Stevens, yeah.
Beast. He's got all these upcoming
Yeah.
projects. But I do love Legion. I love the story of Legion from like the comic book versions because like no one really like. I didn't read like Legion comics or anything, but I know like his story. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really good idea to make the show. I love the guy who's making the show, the guy who did Fargo
Yeah.
and
Noah Hawley.
Hawley, yeah. So good.
Howley.
And,
Or, I don't know. How to-
Actually, it's funny. I was actually thinking. I'm looking at your like toys there, and you have Mojo
Yes.
over there on the
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
And every time I see the Fear
Right.
guy, I think of
Yeah.
Mojo.
Well, you know who he is, right?
I don't know. I can't. Who is he in?
He's
the...
a character, Shadow King.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Shadow King.
Shadow
Shadow
King.
King. Oh yeah, Shadow King, who was Storm, had a big thing with Shadow
Right.
King, and
He takes
yeah.
over bodies and shit.
Yeah, and
sure.
so it's very. I always think of, but the way
It
they
look-
portray him,
That's funny.
Yeah,
I never
it
thought
does.
of that.
It
It
looks
looks,
like Mojo.
just like
Yep.
the show.
it
That's
does.
funny.
Yeah, I also see you have Mr. Sinister there, who
I do.
which I don't know if you guys know, but 99% of the world thought he was the bad guy in Logan for like the whole time we were making it.
Well,
No way.
what movie was it that they did at the end?
Yeah, the, Apocalypse.
Apocalypse
They did the
now,
end,
yeah,
they did
Apocalypse,
Essex
yeah.
Corp, and so they assumed. But then also, like, you're just a dick if you assume, and they're like, oh, saw Essex Corp, must be the bad guy in Logan.
Yeah.
Why? Why would that be? Like, he was obsessed with Cyclops. Like, if we were
Right.
making a Cyclops movie, assume it. But like, he was like in the comics, he was like in love with Scott Summers and his whole family. And
So you think they're gonna bring him back for whatever the next one, Supernova is? What?
Sinister? Actually, I can't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
all right.
Oh, I was wondering if we were gonna hit on anything.
Oh,
It's
Just
like,
you
hey,
saying that made me so excited.
I was like, oh, I had a boner.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh dear, there it is.
Yeah, I can't talk about that movie.
Okay.
Only
That is
because
so cool.
my crew, who I was with on Logan, it's the same producer who went up to Montreal. They're shooting right now for the new X-Men, and I got to see and hear a lot of shit that I should not have seen and heard. Never got. I actually never signed an NDA, so I could say whatever I want. But I want to work.
You wanna keep
in
it
this
Yeah, I
going.
want to
Little-
keep
little
working.
bit.
Yeah.
so-
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Exciting.
it's. We'll see how that one goes. There's some shit going on with it. Stuff that will definitely get leaked soon that you'll read about, I'm sure. That it's just like stuff that you have got to see coming. You're just like, of course this person's doing this. Like, of course this is happening. I heard you guys talk a little bit on your last podcast about some of the actors in it, and you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I love it.
So I'll tell you guys when it's
I
over.
am liking the young Cyclops.
I'm not a huge fan
You're not
of
feeling him?
his. I don't like Cyclops, so I
Well, there we go.
I thought that kid did a nice, fine job. I don't really like his look that much.
I said he's a small Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Okay.
I don't see that. You know what and you know what?
Because you
Also,
don't throw Tom Hardy's name around like that.
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
I heard you say that a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah,
A little bit of obsessed with him. I'll admit it.
but also the with what I didn't like about it was they killed his brother.
Yeah,
and
that's
Havoc.
so lame.
Yeah.
Havoc is a fucking real character.
Yeah.
Who does real things with real, like, I would like that they had a Havoc in there, and I was like, oh yes, we got Alex Summers, like, let's do this.
Why
like,
does he look like MacGyver?
Yeah, exactly. Right? And like maybe someday we'll spin off and do the the Dark Phoenix thing, and then if we really get into it and we get a Cyclops version, then we have him and we have Havoc and we have all the other siblings that come out of nowhere later on in this in the series, because
Sure.
like it would be cool, it'd be interesting, and you also need characters that nobody owns yet, which is important. 'cause
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's fighting over the characters. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to happen, and then they fucking killed Havoc in that movie. I was like, why? You can't just do that. Like,
Yeah.
you can't come back from dead. Like, you could have
Yeah.
sent him away or something, but he's gone.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I didn't.
Though
I
to be
didn't
fair, it is Fox. They'll do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
it's
like,
true.
oh, Havoc died in one. Oh well.
Whatever.
Oh, Caliban was in the last one, and he's in Logan, and it was
Yeah.
two different actors. Fuck it, we're doing it.
That's
Like,
all
Stephen
right.
Merchant did it way better.
way
Yeah,
better.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
He was so good.
Stephen Merchant, he was so good. I met him actually once at a nightclub long before I got the job on Logan. He's like the nicest dude. He's also like 11 feet tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he super tall?
and he just rocks like two chicks.
And what's funny is he didn't have to have any makeup for Logan. He's like that color naturally. It's really
Shaved his
great.
head,
He
good to go.
He just took off his shot and they went with it. No, the
Which
yeah,
is perfect for you. You said if it doesn't work.
yeah, you want it in
Yeah.
camera, so you're good to go. So,
Oh dear.
but yeah,
cool.
he's a good guy. He's a nice guy.
Well, okay. I think.
Anybody else?
We can go on all.
I know,
fucking
that's
night,
kinda
but,
how
you
I
know,
How long is this our clock?
Yeah,
That is
That's
our
our
clock.
time.
And we usually go
22.
for like an hour.
We try to stay at an hour.
It's funny because I listen to a lot of podcasts where they're like, "Hey, we're running long, let's wrap it up," and then the guys are like, "No, let's just keep whatever. Fuck you, we're gonna do it. We'll be fine. We'll get there." And they always go long.
Well, this still isn't the longest one. So
good.
The
All right.
longest one was mine and Buddy's fault. We talked about our top 5 albums.
half
Top
hour.
5 favorite albums of all time.
Hour we talked about that.
They
Wow.
started telling random stories when they were children.
Yeah.
And nobody.
I thought-
As you do.
I actually
could
thought
relate
that
to.
might come up. I have my.
Oh
list.
yes,
Well,
let's
yeah,
do it.
I'll just give you a really quick rundown.
Okay,
of
yeah,
just,
yeah.
I was like,
Perfect.
I've never done a top 5 albums, so I was like, I'm just gonna whatever comes to my mind that's my favorite right now. I'm just gonna put there and I'll say it.
That's
And
great.
then-
I like
it's
it.
more than 5 though. It's I
Honorable
have-
mentions.
I'm not gonna say that one first because it makes me look like an asshole. First, I will say Jeff Buckley, Grace, which is like he's like I don't know if you've never. I meet a lot of people who are like, who's Jeff Buckley? And I'm like, fucking go, just listen to
I've heard-
Grace.
I've heard
He's
of Jeff.
incredible. It's like slow and kind of bitch music, but whatever. He's amazing, and he's dead, so it's not like you have to worry about new shit. He
Spoiler
he
alert.
drowned in the Mississippi River.
Oh, shit.
Brad Pitt was trying to get a movie made. He was trying to play him in a movie forever called Chocolate White Boy or Chocolate Jesus or something like that.
Chocolate Rain?
White chocolate. No, not that guy.
Sorry.
But it never came around. But someday someone's gonna make a movie of the Jeff Buckley story. And it's
Oh,
gonna be a
interesting.
fucking amazing biopic, and someone's gonna win an
Check it
Oscar.
out.
Hopefully it'll be me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeff Buckley, Grace, and then I've got Jay-Z with the Black Album
Fuck yeah.
slash
Yeah.
Blueprint. Heard
Okay.
somebody on your last podcast mention
Watch the Throne.
Watch the Throne. I like
I'm
Watch the Throne.
I'm a huge Kanye and
Yeah,
Jay-Z fan.
I
I'm
like
huge.
Watch the Throne was good, but Black Album's like fucking. that
It's
shit's like-
amazing.
I think Black Album might be my favorite. Like legit rap album ever. Like he was just like he was so ready to just fucking drop the mic and leave. And
yeah.
of course he came back and whatever. But I was down for him that to be his last album.
If
and it
he
was
would
so
have
good.
done that,
yeah, right.
that would have been
Legend.
the most legendary thing of all time of walking away at the height and just being like, I'm done. I love his new stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah.
glad he came back, but that would have been baller move.
Yeah. I mean, when you're Jay-Z, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah,
But
that's shit.
make a farewell album
happens.
and then come back. Whatever.
Do a country album. Who fucking cares?
Exactly. Speaking of country album, I love the Beastie Boys, all of their stuff, and they always talked about doing a country album. So I would have loved if they had done,
that's funny.
that. And so next on my list was Sublime, 40 Ounces of Freedom,
Oh,
okay.
slash Sublime.
All right.
Yes.
Sublime fans get a bad rap. Well, my kind of Sublime fans get a bad rap these days. Like I tell people I like Sublime, and they're like, "You're a fucking douche," and I'm like, "Really? Like people hate Sublime now? Like I love Sublime.
That's
so-
horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe they hate Sublime with Rome. Maybe that's it.
You can hate Sublime with Rome.
That's
I don't-
fine.
Bud and Eric don't. I guess my favorite band of all time is Bradley Knoll because
Yeah, there you go.
the other guys didn't really do it. And then I have Atmosphere, who's a hip hop
Oh,
artist. I
yes.
fucking love.
Big guy.
Huge Atmosphere fan.
God Loves Ugly, my favorite.
Great album.
But I love all the albums. So.
All of his stuff I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
saw
Most
him
Def,
live.
Black on Both Sides.
Okay, that's a great album.
Okay, so and then I have Nirvana, Nevermind, and Pearl Jam 10.
Love it.
Okay, but here's
Oh,
where
dear.
I'm gonna lose you guys. I have Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
Oh, shit.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I have Kelly Clarkson, Breakaway.
Oh, that is not okay.
I love Kelly Clarkson, and I will fist fight anyone who wants to talk shit about her. I would marry her today. My girlfriend knows that if I ever met her, it's over between us.
Wow.
I love me some Kelly Clarkson.
That is funny.
So
That's great. Well, thank you for putting yourself out there like
Yeah.
that.
That was
no problem.
amazing.
Shit,
I love her.
The hate mail will come to us. Don't you?
Yeah,
have to worry
no,
about it.
send it to me. Like forward shit to me. I want to
I
read
was
it.
gonna ask if you want anybody,
Yeah,
like, if you want to
whatever.
drop your,
You can get to me my what's my Twitter?
Website, Twitter, email, whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Okay, so I'm on Twitter.
I know your website is something.wordpress.com. I know that.
Yes. Oh, actually, if you just go to curtiscorona.com, it's there. But it's really I don't keep it up. It's like it's fine. It's there.
Your
but,
picture's really nice.
Yeah, thanks. That was a
You're welcome.
very professional headshot. I am at CM Corona on Twitter. CM Corona.
Awesome.
And
I'll put that because I put the stuff, our episodes out on Twitter.
cool. Yeah. And you got I do subscribe to the podcast now, so I'll listen to see if you guys talk shit about me next time.
No.
yeah. No, we would appreciate if you guys tweet at him, any of our listeners,
Yeah.
say, you appreciate him
Definitely.
coming on and how
For
well
sure.
he did and the insight on the business. That was awesome, man. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no
Super
worries.
great.
Like anytime.
That
like,
is so cool.
I-
Yeah.
So you live in Sacramento.
I live in LA.
Oh, you live in
I'm
LA.
just in Sacramento. I was in Sacramento between shows. I just took a new job, so I go back on Monday to start a new show called The Mountain Between Us.
Oh.
It's an Idris Elba movie with Kate Winslet.
We
It's
love
a
Idris
book,
Elba.
2011 book. Something like
Nice.
that. So, yeah, I was up for a bunch of really cool jobs like Godzilla 2, Pac Rim 2. Talked to people from both of those shows. Actually turned down Pac Rim to take this one just because it was a shorter job and less intense. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll probably regret that at some point. Pac Rim.
I
Pac
think
Rim's cool.
we're actually pretty big Pac Rim fans.
I love Pac Rim.
Yeah.
So I think very soon you will see because it's legendary. So and then the Godzilla thing. If Godzilla calls me back, I'll take that job and quit the job I'm on now because Godzilla would be. It's Godzilla 2, and then
The Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, yeah, and then back to back they would do it's Godzilla 2 in 2018, and then Godzilla versus Kong in 2020.
Yeah.
And I would I would bet all my money that you're gonna get Kong, Godzilla, Kaiju after that. I think Legendary is gonna do their own MonsterVerse.
I just
Yeah.
went to watch Kong Skull
We
Island.
talked about that
Actually
last
liked
Way
it a lot.
better. It was so
loved it.
good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was
Yeah.
way better than I thought it was going to be. I'll tell you guys some stories about that after that.
Okay, that's cool.
Because it was a legendary movie too, getting made at the same time I was on Great Wall.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, yeah, you can find us on Twitter at Hardly Heroes.
One.
You can find us on Instagram at Hardly Heroes. You can find us on Facebook at Hardly Heroes.
Yep.
But yeah, Curtis, thanks for coming in. And
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
hardlyheroes@gmail.com.
No worries.
yeah.
I think we've plateaued about this point.
Yeah.
I don't
So,
think it's gonna get any better than
that's
this.
okay.
Yeah. So you guys have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.